Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was a bijou god in danmachi. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Valkireon and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. A long time ago the gods reigned supreme over the land. Amongst the gods there were 9 that were the strongest. These 9 gods came to be called bijus. The bijus were not all merciful gods, some of them used their powers for themselves, and they had fun using humans to play around, but that changed with time. A long time ago one of the gods decided to join the humans as an equal. He lost his powers and became vulnerable. He was the first familiar god. He gathered humans as his family, and they grew closer. Soon more and more gods followed the example and joined the humans. Eventually even the bijou became familiar gods. With gods joining the humans, other consequences came to pass. Monsters started appearing in confined areas. This areas grew to be called dungeons. People under the familiar gods, or better known as adventurers, go and explore these dungeons and search for magic crystals that the monster release when they are defeated. Organizations grew that dealt with these crystals. They gave adventurers money in exchange for the magic crystals, and this became a major part in the world economy. Magic crystals can be used to fuel machines, move water, make light amongst other stuff. From all the dungeons the bigger one is found in Konoha. This dungeon is one of the few that are yet to be fully explored, and many adventurers try to explore it. At the beginning not everything went smoothly. The gods that had used their powers to hurt humans were hated by the humans. They were attacked, but thanks to still keeping some of their power, amongst them immortality, they survived. The gods searched for forgiveness. It took time, but people forgave most of the gods. With time the bijus grew to have the biggest familias amongst all the gods, all except one. The Kyuubi or Kurarama, as people grew to know her as, was never forgiven. She was the one to cause the most amount of destruction on her days as a god before descending. People hated her, with time they forgot her, but no matter what she did, she never found someone to join her familia. Here is where we found one Naruto Uzumaki. He is a knucklehead, young man that had been searching for a familia to join for the last few months, but anyone he sees rejects him, or he decides that he doesn't like them. He found himself in an alleyway crying to himself. He had run out of money, soon he would die from hunger, or worse, he would found himself a thief, a thing that he promised himself to never be, but his luck was about to change. "Are you okay?" asked a woman to Naruto. He didn't bother to look at her. "I ran out of money and I can't find anything to eat," Naruto answered. "Take this, I don't really need it," said the woman giving Naruto a bag of bread she was carrying. "I can't take it, it's yours ma'am," said Naruto finally looking at the woman. He was amazed by the beauty of the woman. She had long red hair, although it looked more like a dark orange. She was wearing a kimono that just fit, it was perfect on her. "Come on, take it, I don't need it," said the woman pushing the bag onto Naruto's hand. Naruto was about to reject the offer again, but his stomach growled in hunger. "I guess I can take one," said Naruto. Naruto grabbed one, and the woman sat at his side. "And tell me, what is a young man like you doing in a city like Konoha with no money?" asked the woman. "Well, I was looking to join a familia, but I couldn't find one I liked or one that accepted me," said Naruto. "I was about to make myself join one I didn't like just to keep living, but now I can keep looking for a little bit." "A familia?" asked the woman. "And why would you want to join one?" "I want to be an adventurer, is the only thing I have dreamed about since I was a small kid," Naruto said, standing up excited to explain. "Then, why don't you join my familia?" asked the woman. "You're in a familia?" asked Naruto. "Technically I don't have a familia yet, I'm a goddess, my name's Kurarama," said the woman. "Like the Kyuubi, Kurarama?" asked Naruto, remembering hearing that name. She had feared this, he would probably leave him now and never talk to her again. "Yes, that one," said Kurarama. "One of the great bijua," said Naruto, sounding happy and excited. This was not what Kurarama expected. "I'll join." That surprised her. Normally people in the past ran from her or said mean things to her, but this young man was excited to join her familia. This was going to be great. The next day, they went to Kurarama's not that spectacular home. She owned a small room in an apartment building in the poor area of Konoha she had barely managed to pay last month. Rent she hadn't worried that much, if she was ran out she could find somewhere else to stay. But now Naruto was here, she couldn't think like that. She needed to find some way to make money and pay the rent without hindering Naruto until he was a fully fledged adventurer. Getting Naruto and her familia was simple. They signed a contract and then they went to the guild and got him enrolled in there as part of her familia. He needed to go again today to receive the beginner's equipment and to meet his advisor. His advisor would make sure he didn't go to dangerous areas in the dungeon and would give him advice on how to make his job as an adventurer easier. Kurarama was happy, she had finally gotten someone in her familia and she would make sure that Naruto reached his full potential. She would help him every step of the way too until he fulfilled his dreams. Kurarama, as a first step towards helping Naruto, decided to review what exactly a god did for their family, a thing that she had not done in a long time. Basically a god granted the humans in its familia the power of chakra. This allowed them to fight the monsters easier. Gods were forbidden of fighting monsters, since monsters were one of the few things that could actually kill a god for good. When a god gave the persons in its familia the power of chakra, they also gained stats. These ranged from attack to dexterity, speed, etc. Humans also gained the ability to learn skills in magic, although many called magic jutsus. Humans would gain experience while fighting monsters. This experience converts into experience points that made the stats of the human grow. But for the stats to be able to grow, the human needed to return to their familiar god, who would update their stats and also tell them if they have gained a new skill or jutsu. When an adventurer had an adventure, it was not really defined what an adventure was, but it normally involved killing an high-level monster or a floor boss in the dungeons. The adventurer levels up. An adventurer needs to be of a certain level to access certain floors of the dungeon. They could still go to those floors, but it was ill-advised since they would probably die. Adventurers normally joined in groups or parties to explore the dungeon, but a new adventurer normally went in solo until they became level 2. When an adventurer level ups, the gods decide on an alias or title for the adventurer. This title should be used proudly. That seemed to be every important bit of information Kurarama had to review. She would wait for Naruto to return from the dungeon, and then she would update his stats and give him motivating words and advices. That seemed to be her job at least, but of course, she had to find any way to help him apart from that, so maybe she would need to find a job. Konoha Guild. Naruto was excited. He was now an official adventurer, and in a familia he liked a lot. He liked Kurama-sama a lot. He wondered if maybe he should call her Kami-sama since she was a god, but when he tried calling her that last night and she told him to call her Kurama. Naruto Uzumaki? Asked a man that seemed to be looking for him. That's me, said Naruto, answering the person's call. Follow me, I'll present you to your advisor, said the man. Soon they were at one of the guild's reception areas where a blonde woman that was maybe not that older than Naruto was waiting. Naruto Uzumaki, this is Ino Yamanaka, she's your advisor. She will give you a roundup of what you need to know, and then you can go to the dungeon if you want, said the man before turning to Ino. Ino, this is your first adventure. Remember to be calm with it. The man left. Ino looked nervous, like she was trying not to ruin anything. Hi, as my supervisor said, I'm Ino Yamanaka, pleasure to meet you. Naruto Uzumaki, the same, said Naruto. As you might have also heard, I'm a rookie just like you, but I'll try my best, said Ino. I'm sure I'm in good hands, said Naruto. This made Ino blush a little, but then she regained her serious composure. Okay, let's start with the basics. You are allowed to go up to floor 12 of the dungeon, but I would not advise that. You should limit yourself to the first 2 floors at most. It's dangerous enough for a new adventurer like you. Ah, I was hoping to get into the lower levels quickly, said Naruto, a little disappointed. That's dangerous, you could die. I don't want you to die, said Ino. When she caught herself, she added, as your advisor, I don't want you to die. Just think about your familia, would they be happy if you died? Kurama would probably not be happy. Okay, I'll limit myself to the first 2 floors, said Naruto. Continuing, yesterday you were asked your size and a preferred weapon. Since you didn't give a preferred weapon, you received the default one. This knife, said Ino, taking a knife from a box that was placed in her desk. You also received beginner's armor. Ino took out a set of really light armor from the box. Thanks, this is definitely going to help, said Naruto, taking the knife and the armor. You also get 5 healing potions. This were added recently to the beginner's packet. Use them wisely, don't waste them, said Ino, giving Naruto the potions. Wow, this is so much. Is it really okay I take all this? Asked Naruto. Yeah, the guild wants everyone to have a chance. If we sent unarmored or unarmed adventurers to the dungeon, they would just go and die, and we don't want that, said Ino. Well, I believe that's all the beginner's manual tells me to tell you. Specifications about leveling up and rising your stats are handled by you familiar god, Kurama-sama in this case. She explained the basics to me, but I think she can explain the rest sometime soon, said Naruto. I hope she does. If for some reason she doesn't, you can always ask me later. I'm your advisor after all, said Ino. Also, I might be your advisor, but I'm not limited to you. Well, for now I am, since I'm a rookie, but if they assign me someone else, I might not have all the time to explain things to you, but I don't think that will happen soon. They normally wait until the first adventurer of a new advisor levels up before assigning someone else. So, can I go to the dungeon yet? Asked Naruto. Yes, but remember, when you return you report to me what you encountered in the dungeon. I'm talking about dropped items and the amount of magic crystals. I write that down in a report, and then you can change the crystals for money over there, said Ino, pointing to a place where adventurers were lining up to change their crystals. Also, it's your first time in there. Be careful and remember, running is a viable strategy. Don't worry, I'm tougher than I look, said Naruto. Good luck in there. I hope to see you later today then, said Ino. Yes, I'll be back as soon as I return from the dungeon, said Naruto, and with that he left. Hanoha's dungeon first floor. Naruto was amazed he had seen the entrance to the dungeon multiple times. He had come here to see the adventurers head into it, but he was always amazed by the amount of people passing through here. It was astonishing. It was obvious why Konoha's dungeon was the biggest and most famous of the whole world. Naruto went inside the first floor, something he had always dreamed of doing. He now could enter the dungeon. The first floor was just the reception, and the entrance in here you could possibly find party members, but that was mostly done in the guild. Doing it here was a little rare. Or supports. Supports were people that accompanied you to the dungeons and carried your items and equipment. They also carried the magic crystal, and that way it really could double even the worst adventurer's gains. Obviously he would have to cut it to give a part to the support, but the amount that could be made by having one outweighed the loss of having to cut the total. Naruto was still just a beginner. He didn't have the need for a support or the recognition to be in a party. He would have two in solo, and that he did going to the real first floor of the dungeon, floor 2. In floor 2 everything felt different. It felt like if you were in a cave, although he technically was. He prepared the knife Ino gave him and started going into the dungeon. Soon he found himself with a giant ant. This type of monsters could be dangerous deeper into the dungeon, but here they were easy prey. Naruto rushed it and cut it in half. The ant exploded in smoke, and a pretty small magic crystal appeared. Well, it didn't appear, it was just release from the monster. Every monster has a magic crystal inside of them, generally in the middle of their body. If the adventurer manages to cut the crystal, the monster dies instantly. It's common knowledge to aim for the crystal when facing a tough opponent. Naruto kept this pace, finding lone ants and killing them fast. He had some trouble when he found a group of 3. He cut one, but the other 2 countered and managed to bit him in the arm. It hurt like hell. He immediately cut the second one and managed to kill the third one. The crystal were the same size, still small. He had filled a bag with a lot of this small crystals. He decided that was enough. He left the dungeon and headed to the guild to report. Konoha Guild. Naruto found Ino behind a desk, being a receptionist. Apart from being advisors, the workers of the guild were also receptionists, taking quests and sending the right people to these quests. They also filled parties forms and supports forms. This were to assure that there would be a split of the loot gotten in the dungeon to everyone in the party, even the support. Ino-san, I came back to report, said Naruto when he got the reception. Oh, Naruto-kun, you came back from the dungeon. I was kinda worried that you might have gone to a deeper floor and gotten in trouble, Ino said. I promised to stay in the first few floors, Naruto said. Anyways, this is all I got. Naruto placed a bag with the crystal in front of Ino. Okay, a bag of low-tier crystals of the smaller variety, said Ino while she wrote it in the report. You can go exchange those over there, just a heads up, it won't be much. Well, let's see how much I get, said Naruto as he went and exchanged the crystals. He got 600 ryo. Only 600 ryo? Said Naruto when he got back to Ino. Normally the needed amount to eat enough to survive in one day was 500 ryo. One could get a small house with 200,000 ryo, and equipment varies, but the higher leveled equipment could cost millions of ryo, especially if made by Jayuki, the master of arms of the bijus. Yeah, that's more or less the amount you will get if you stay on the first few floors, but the more important thing is the experience. When you grow stronger from stats updates by you goddess, you will be able to go to deeper floors, then you will get more money, buy better equipment and go even deeper, Ino said. That seems reasonable, but I really wanted to go deeper soon. I hope I can get better stats faster, Naruto said. Everyone grows differently, you might be able to make it by next week, who knows, said Ino. I hope. I better start heading back, don't want to worry, Kurama-sama, Naruto said. Hope to see you tomorrow, Naruto-kun. Remember, I'm here to help. That extends to Kurama-sama. If she thinks that I'm doing something wrong, she can come and talk to me, Ino said. I think you're doing a wonderful job, Ino-san, especially if you're a rookie, as you said. I have had almost no problems for now, Naruto said. That's my job, to help you stay alive in there by limiting where you go, said Ino. Also, if you have a particularly big grow in stats, you can inform me, and I will let you go deeper. Just remember to bring the paper with the stats. I'll remember that, said Naruto, and then he left. It's been a week since Naruto joined the Kurama Familia. He had gone to the dungeon every day since then. He had gone as far as floor 3. He decided going there because he didn't have any problem with the ants. On floor 3, it was just a higher number of ant and the occasional goblin that gave him trouble. He was now laying on his stomach shirtless, and Kurama was on top of him on his back. She was currently updating his stats. You have become a lot stronger in a small time, Naruto-kun, said Kurama as she finished. She then proceeded to put a piece of paper on his back and she copied the stats so Naruto could see them. Wow, I gained 10 points in endurance. This is great. Maybe I can finally go to floor 4, said Naruto excited. When do you think I'll develop skills, Kurama-sama? Well, it's a rare occurrence, some adventurers don't get a skill until they turn level 3, so who knows, said Kurarama. I really want a skill, that way I'll be able to level up and go to the deeper floors, said Naruto. I want to be a great adventurer, like Hashirama or Tobirama. Hashirama Senju, some consider him the greatest adventurer of all time. He explored multiple dungeons and went the deepest anyone had ever gone on the Konoha dungeon, floor 80. He and his party, which included his brother Tobirama and his friend Uchiha Madara, were some of the best adventurers the world had ever seen. Well, at least until Madara betrayed Hashirama on the boss floor of floor 81 and left him to die. I'm sure you're going to be the greatest adventurer ever, said Kurarama. After all, you're on my familia. I'm the greatest of all gods, and I'll make anything in my power to help you. If you're the greatest, why had no one joined your familia? Asked Naruto sarcastically, and then here see the punch on the head. They couldn't comprehend my power, they feared me, said Kurarama, trying to come with an excuse. I know, you're the best, said Naruto. Well, I better get to sleep. I want to hit the dungeon early tomorrow, maybe I'll finally have enough money for a weapon. Kurarama got nervous. Then yeah, about that, I'll need that money to pay the rent, said Kurarama slowly. Naruto sighed. Well, nothing I can do there, I'll have to keep waiting, said Naruto. Kurarama felt bad, she wanted to help Naruto, but she was halting his progress. Don't worry, this will be the last time I'll take your money. I'll make sure be able to help you too, and if I keep halting you, I'm not doing my job as your familia god correctly, said Kurarama. Don't worry, Kurarama-sama, this is what familias normally do anyway, said Naruto. Enlarge your familias. A part of the money gained from the adventurers and supports of that familia was given to the familia, that way they could pay for big buildings to house the members and food amongst other stuff. I know, but you're just starting, I would feel bad halting you in the beginning, said Kurarama. I don't really mind, as long as I'm in your familia, I'll keep getting better and better, and soon the name of the Kurarama familia will be known, said Naruto. Kurarama was really happy to hear that her familia member was enthusiastic. This just motivated her more on finding a way to help him. After thinking it for a while, she came up with a way to help him, a way she wouldn't like, but she had to do it. She would have to go see Jayuki. Konoha's dungeon. Naruto was ready. He would go to floor 4. He had not get authorization from Ino, but he was sure he could handle it. Each floor on the first few only had ants, goblins and lizards, then you got orcs, trolls and minotaur, but those were floor 8 and onwards. He was safe in floor 4. He made it to floor 4 in half an hour. Inside the dungeon it was maze-like, but eventually one could come to know the layout of the floors, that is until the maze floors, those changed every day, but those were for adventures level 3 and upwards. Naruto had read a lot about the dungeon preparing to become an adventurer. The first thing he learned was that no matter how much damage he did, the floor would be back to normal the next day. He also learned that some floors didn't have any monsters, but those were farther down. He would have to be level 2 to even have the authorization to go there, but even then it was risky. In floor 4 Naruto was fighting bigger groups of ants, maybe even 10 ants in some groups. It was getting challenging. He had to use some of his healing potions to stay alive, since he didn't have the time to close the wound. Goblins were also getting more fearsome, and some even carried daggers. It was definitely getting harder, but Naruto powered through. He made it all the way to the stairs to floor 5. He was debating with himself if he wanted to go down there. In the end he came to the conclusion that just having a peek was not a problem. He went down to floor 5 and encountered his first fire lizard. Those were not just named for the fire on their tails, they could shot fire from their mouth, making them really hard to kill. He managed to kill one after having a lot of trouble, but in his dying breath the lizards called for more. His friends. Naruto was tired and really hurt when he saw 7 lizards closing in. He just tailed it out of there. He went all the way back to floor 2 before he stopped running. Sometime monster followed adventurers to other floors where they normally don't go. This is dangerous and is not advisable that adventurers leave monster of higher level on the upper floors. Luckily this time, the lizards had gave up on floor 4. It was still one floor up, but it could be taken care of, especially in the first few floors. Higher level adventurers normally cleaned up this kind of mistake when they went down to the lower floors or when coming up. It was just adventure camaraderie. Naruto decided it was all for today. He had not even been able to get the crystal from the lizard he managed to kill. It was disappointing, but well, that's how this went. He at least a bag full of bigger crystals than before. This would certainly get him at least 2,000 ryo. Konoha Guild. Just 1,000? Asked Naruto, really disappointed. Yes, most of the crystal were low quality. This is the amount they are worth, said the receptionist that changed the crystals. Oh, man, said Naruto, I'll never get a weapon like this. Well, anyways, I have to finish the report with Ino. Soon enough he was in front of the desk. Ino was. So how it went? Asked Ino. Just 1,000, said Naruto. I'm thinking this is not really that good. I told you already, right now is about the experience, said Ino. You told me you killed a lizard, even when I told you not to go so deep in the dungeon. Sorry about that, I went to take a peek, and then I ended fighting one, said Naruto. Well, it doesn't matter, the thing that matters is that you're alive, and that you must have gotten more experience from that, so maybe you'll get a B rank stat. Who knows, said Ino. Stats were measured in 2 ways, rank and number. Number was the number that measured your stat, it was just there to compare and as in reference difference. Rank on the other hand was to compare with other adventurers. The rank was measured according to your level. A D was average in that level, an A was outstanding in that level, and an S meant that you were maybe as strong as someone from the next level, well a C rank from the next level. Yeah, if I get a B, you let me go to floor 6 right? Said Naruto. Nope, only if you get 2 BS, you need at least an A to get to floor 12, which is deep as a level 1 adventurer can go. But it has to be in something other than attack, damage alone won't save you in the dungeon said Ino. Well then I just have to get higher ranks faster said Naruto. For that you would need better equipment said Ino being honest. You can really go to floor 8 with the stats, but your equipment is still beginners, I cannot let you go with that. But for that I need more money, said Naruto. Damn first floors, and they low quality crystals. Have you considered a support? Ask Ino. A support doesn't only pick crystals, they fight besides you, but they require you to protect them for the most part, since they are normally weaker and have to wear light armor if any. I don't know, the amount of money I make won't call their attention too much said Naruto. Well with a support I would let you go deeper, after all they keep an eye for you and inform you of monsters, they also let you concentrate on the fight better, it's just all around better said Ino. Even some of the weaker adventurers make around 20,000 ryo when they go in with a support. 20,000? Asked Naruto. That's a lot. Obviously they divide it with the support, making the gains go down, and they need more equipment, so they spent more, they end with around 7,000 by the end of all said Ino. Still a lot, I might need to consider it said Naruto. Well, see you tomorrow Ino-san, I need to get back, I don't want Kurama-sama to get worried. See you tomorrow Naruto-kun said Ino, and with that Naruto left. Earlier that day Jayuki familia. Kurama was not really excited about this, Jayuki was not really her best friend, amount ambiguous, she could probably say that apart from maybe Shikaku. Jayuki liked her the least. They had not parted on good terms the last time they saw each other. She kinda owed him some money, 100,000 ryo to be exact. She could still not believe how easy she had managed to get him to lend her so much money, but this time it would not be as easy as that, and she knew it. She entered and searched for Jayuki. She ended in front of a door that said Jayuki's office on the front. She knocked and waited. In said a voice from inside. She then entered and saw Jayuki looking through some books. If I move this, I'll be able to get an even bigger buffet on the party and save money in the process, said Jayuki as he looked on the books. Well Jayuki's familia was known for having a lot of parties, they were pretty common, although Kurama didn't know why they had so many. Jayuki lifted his head from the book and saw Kurama. Well if it isn't Kurama, what are you doing here? After last time, I thought you had ran far away said Jayuki. Well, I kinda need a favor said Kurama. Forget it, I'm not giving you more money said Jayuki. It's not that, you see I recently got a member for my familia, I want to help him whichever way I can said Kurama. Still not giving you money said Jayuki. I don't want money, I want a weapon, one that can make him grow stronger, please I'll even pay it said Kurama. We both know you don't have the money, said Jayuki. Now if you're not here to pay me the 100,000 you owe me, you can leave. Please, I'll work for it, anything I really want Naruto-kun to fulfill his dream said Kurama. Sorry, Kurama, I won't help you, no matter what said Jayuki, and he returned to his books. Naruto is strong, he's getting stats really fast, but he's being dragged back by his equipment, he can really be stronger said Kurama, I just want to help him. Jayuki thought for a little while, and then came with an idea. You really want a weapon for him? Asked Jayuki. Yes, I want him to reach his potential, for real said Kurama. Then how about this? Said Jayuki picking a paper he had at his desk. It was a poster for some kind of tournament. This is the tournament Shikaku does every year. He won't survive that. Level 8 adventurers enter that said Kurama worried for Naruto. I don't want him to enter the tournament, I want him to enter the exhibition match, where they fight monsters, said Jayuki. I'll check him out there, if I think he's good, we'll make a deal. They have minotaurs and rock trolls in there said Kurama. He could die. If he's as good as you say, he'll be fine said Jayuki. He can enter the beginner's match, he has a month to prepare anyways. Fine, he'll do it, and he'll win said Kurama. Good, but don't tell him about this, I don't want him to know yet said Jayuki, especially if I decide I won't make him a weapon. Okay, thanks Jayuki said Kurama, I'm sure he'll win. Kurama then left going back home. Kurama's apartment later that night. You what? Asked Kurama when Naruto told her about his exploration to floor 5. I made back alive Kurama-sama said Naruto. Isn't that what's important? Well it does, but you shouldn't go lower than what your advisor lets you, especially because you still have low level equipment said Kurama. The lizards are not that bad with fire, but get lower and the amount grows. You need some kind of fire cloak or a fire resistant equipment if you want to fight them at low stats. But I managed to defeat one, maybe my stat grew a lot from that said Naruto trying to protect himself. Okay, fine. Let's get the stat update rolling, I need to see how you're doing said Kurama. Naruto removed his shirt and lay down on his back as he had always done, then Kurama proceeded to update his stats. I can't believe this, B ranks in speed and endurance, and you're close to BS in all others, you're really special Naruto said Kurama as she updated his stats, then she copied them on the usual paper and showed them to Naruto. Wow. That's a serious boost, with this I should be able to stay on the 5th floor said Naruto. Well technically yes, your stats are high enough to resist the low-level fire attacks from the lizards, but a big group can still be a problem said Kurama. Yeah, I'll take this paper to Ino-san tomorrow, that way she'll allow me to go deeper in the dungeon, said Naruto. Well you better keep getting stronger and stronger said Kurama. You'll be participating in Shukaku's tournament next month. What? Asked Naruto surprised. You want me to participate in that? There are high-level adventurers there. Not in the tournament, you're going to enter the exhibition match with the monsters said Kurama. And why? I would like to enter, but I would rather wait for next year said Naruto. You said you wanted make the name of this familia known right? Said Kurama. Just think about it, someone from a not known familia entered the tournament and did great, that would bring a lot of attention. Well, yes that's right, then I'll enter. When is it going to be this year? Asked Naruto. Next month, you still have a lot of time to get strong said Kurama. Then I'll make sure to win when the time comes said Naruto. Good, that way you'll become even stronger, and then you'll be close to being the best adventurer you can said Kurama, and I'll be there helping you every step of the way. Thanks Kurama-sama said Naruto. Now I better get some rest, I have to go see if I can buy some healing potions tomorrow. I only have 2 left. But that they decided to rest for the night. The next day Konoha streets. Naruto had woke up early, and since Kurama had not woken up yet he decided to go see if he could find where they sold healing potions. He knew they normally sell for 1000 ryo the piece. It was a big investment, but it was a good one, especially if he could stay another hour in the dungeon. Thanks to one, he could make his money back quicker. He hadn't have any luck with finding a store. He was now heading to the guild to see if he got authorization from Ino to go deeper. It was late enough that Ino should be in the guild by now. He passed in front of bar and something felt on top of him that made him fall to the floor. He soon found out it had been a girl with dark blue hair. There were also some boxes scattered around. I'm sorry, I was just moving this boxes inside, and it seemed I picked one too many said the girl when she noticed she had fallen on Naruto. Don't worry, I should have also been more careful said Naruto. Mind if I heal you with those? Asked Naruto as he saw that the girl had started picking the boxes up again. I would like that, normally my sister helped me with this thing, but she decided to go look for a new job said the girl. Naruto started picking some boxes. I'm Naruto Uzumaki by the way, I'm an adventurer. Hinata Hyuga, I work at this bar said Hinata. After moving all the boxes Hinata spoke again. You said you're an adventurer, I wonder have you eaten breakfast yet? Asked Hinata. Naruto had started looking for the potions early in the morning. He had not eaten yet. Not really, but it's not a problem said Naruto. If you want I can make you a small meal said Hinata as a thank you for helping me with the boxes. It's not needed and I wouldn't have a way to pay it anyway said Naruto. Don't worry, it's on my part, I'm sure Tucci would not mind said Hinata. Naruto was about to reject the offer, but right then his stomach growled. I think I might be able to stay for a little while longer said Naruto. Good, I'll be done in a little while said Hinata as she entered the kitchen. A few minutes later she came back with a plate with some sandwiches. Here you go Naruto-kun said Hinata putting the plate in front of him. Thanks Hinata-san said Naruto as he started to eat. Tell me Naruto-kun, how is it to be an adventurer? Asked Hinata. What's the best part? Well, I can't tell you much since I'm just level 1 and I started last week, but going into the dungeon and facing things you have never known about before, facing challenges and exploring places no else had been said Naruto. Of course I haven't done that last part, but I will eventually. I see said Hinata sounding a little distant, but it's pretty dangerous, you risk your life every time right? Well, yeah you face monsters in the dungeon, they don't have any mercy. If you give them an opening they'll kill you said Naruto. Is it really that dangerous? Asked Hinata. Well once you go in there a few times it becomes easier, the monsters stay the same, but you become stronger, said Naruto as he finished eating, and Hinata took the plate. Well, I better get going, thanks for the meal Hinata said Naruto. Thanks for talking with me said Hinata, I hope you come here sometime in the future. I might, this place looks like it gets full on night said Naruto. Oh, it does, all kind of adventurers just bragging about their adventures said Hinata. Then I'll come here one of these days, thanks again for that Hinata said Naruto, and with that he left. The dungeon is that dangerous, I don't understand why you want to work in there, Hanabi said Hinata to herself when Naruto left. Konoha's guild. So what do you think? Asked Naruto. Can I go to higher floors now? Well, with these stats I suppose said Ino, but your equipment is not great, so I say floor 6 maximum. I'll take it, I'll be going to the higher floors in no time, said Naruto excited. But this time, I want you to promise me that you'll stay on the floors I allow you to go said Ino. But what if I just take a peek in the next floor? Asked Naruto. No peeks, Naruto, my job is to keep you alive from here. If you do whatever you want and you don't listen to me, my job just feels useless, said Ino. Naruto had never thought of it like that. Okay, I promise this time I'll definitely stay in the floors I'm supposed to said Naruto. Good, and remember, you might have good stats, but if the monsters start becoming harder to kill if you're having trouble, Get out of there, said Ino. Getting killed will accomplish you nothing. I know, I won't die until fulfill my dream of becoming the best adventurer in the world, said Naruto, so I hope you can help me every step of the way. That's my job, said Ino. You just focus on becoming better and better, that way my job will be easier. Well, I better get going. I want to get out of the dungeon early to see if I can find an apothecary to buy more potions, said Naruto. See you later, Ino-san. With that, Naruto headed to the dungeon. Konoha's dungeon. It took him in half an hour, but he made it through floor 5. Naruto was now standing in front of the stairs to floor 6. He decided to go down into floor 6. In here it was now rare to see ants, but if you did, they were high-level ants that could summon more of their kind to help them fight. Goblins were now rare to see unarmed, and fire lizards were plentiful. The dungeon just got harder and bigger the more deeper you went. Some of the higher level adventurers that could go to floor 50 said that it took at least 5 days to make it all the way down there, and that was if you had a flawless run through the dungeon. It would normally take anywhere from 1 week to 10 days, but it was normally recommended that if you didn't make to at least floor 30 in 3 days that you went back, it would just get harder. Naruto started exploring the floor. Soon he engaged in combat with a group of goblins. Naruto decided to take the first move before they could try and surround them and overwhelm him with number. He took his knife and ran at max speed towards the goblins that were starting to organize, and he slashed 2 of goblins' heads off. He then proceeded to slash the third where he knew the crystal was located. The 3 goblins exploded into smoke, and their crystals fell to the floor. The remaining 7 goblins then retaliated. Thanks to Naruto's attack, he was now in the middle of them, and they took slashes at him with their daggers. One of them even threw his dagger towards Naruto. He managed to avoid the thrown dagger, but he couldn't avoid all the goblins in melee range. He blocked some slashes, but he was slowly being overwhelmed. Before it became dangerous, Naruto decided to make some distance. He slashed the closer goblin to him, cutting his arm. Naruto then grabbed the dagger the goblin had been using, and with dagger and knife in hand, he charged, slashing through the remaining goblins. That was harder than I thought, said Naruto to himself when he finished killing the goblins. He then took his last healing potion to heal all the damage the goblins did to him, and picked the crystal that were left behind. In this floor they were a little more shiny than in lower ones. They must be worth a little more as well. Naruto continued exploring the 6th floor for a while longer, but he decided not to fight any group of monsters. He killed any small group of goblins he found, or any lone lizard he could find, making sure they couldn't emit their death cry to call for their friends. Soon he decided that it would be dangerous to keep exploring, and that he needed to go look for that apothecary, so he left the dungeon early that day. But even if he went out early, he had faced much stronger monsters, so he was sure he would be stronger tomorrow. Konoha's streets. After reporting to Ino and changing the crystals for Ryo, Naruto decided to keep looking for an apothecary. He had run out of potions. They were not 100% needed to explore the dungeon, but you got to limit yourself in the dungeon if you go without potions, and it was safer if you carried a few. He had decided to ask Ino if she knew any apothecary. She indeed knew about one, said that Naruto should probably go to the Kitsai Familia. They had an apothecary there, and they normally sold good quality potion for a low price, so he decided to go check it out. He soon found himself at the apothecary of the Kitsai Familia. Welcome to the Kitsai Familia apothecary, what can I help you with? Asked a woman with black shoulder-length hair. I was looking for healing potions, said Naruto. Oh, those they are 1,000 ryos a piece, said the woman. Are they really that expensive? Asked Naruto, surprised. He expected a lower price from what Ino had told him. Yeah, it takes some mid-quality crystals to make a batch of potions. This is actually the lowest we can sell them and still make a profit, said the woman. Well, it seems I have no choice. I'll take 2, said Naruto. Only 2 that will not last if you plan on going to the dungeon, said the woman. That's all I have for right now, I'll get more later, said Naruto. You must be a new adventurer, said the woman. I'll tell you a secret you might not know, to help you in the dungeon. Naruto listened carefully. Whatever she said might be useful. If you get damaged, but the wound is not that deep, you should just take half the potion. It'll recover you just like the full thing. That's something that most rookies don't know, said the woman. Thanks, ma'am, I didn't know that. It will be helpful, said Naruto. Call me Shizune. I hope you become one of our frequent costumers, said Shizune. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'll be sure to come back to buy more things when I have the money, said Naruto. Then Naruto paid for his potions and left, deciding that was enough for today. Kurama's apartment. Naruto returned to his and Kurama's home. He wanted to get his stat updated as soon as he arrived. He wanted to see if he had become stronger. Naruto, you're a little early today. Something bad happened in the dungeon? Asked Kurama, surprised when he arrived early and also worried for him. He might have gotten really hurt. Nothing like that, Kurama-sama, said Naruto, calming her down. I just left the dungeon early to look for an apothecary. Luckily Ino-san knows one and made it easy for me. So you managed to buy those potions? Asked Kurama, now calm to know that Naruto was fine. Yeah, with this I'm one step closer to becoming the greatest adventurer I can be, said Naruto. Speaking of that, you never told me why you wanted to be an adventurer, said Kurama, really curious about that. She had been curious about it for some time now. I never told you, did I, Kurama-sama? asked Naruto, already knowing the answer well. It was a long time ago, when I was young. What happened? Asked Kurarama. Naruto sat back down on the bed and started remembering that day when he decided to be an adventurer. Well, me and my mom, Kushina, we lived in the town of Yuzushiogakure. She always told me about my father. He was a great adventurer. He explored more than 5 different dungeons, but he apparently died in the Konoha dungeon. He went too deep into the dungeon. He got hurt. He tried making it to the safe zone, but he died in the boss floor just before it, said Naruto. It must have been hard growing up without your father, said Kurarama. Not really, I was just 1 year old when he died. I didn't know him, and my mom always took care of me. It was lonely sometimes, and I always wondered how it would have gone if he had stayed alive, said Naruto, remembering his childhood days anyways. As you might know, Yuzushiogakure actually has a small dungeon. It's only 15 floors deep. It's so small it has little security. Yes, from all the dungeons on the world, the one in Yuzu is one of the smaller ones. It would be at least one of the top 3 smallest dungeons, said Kurarama, showing her knowledge on the subject. Well, one day I wandered close to the dungeon. I got lost, said Naruto, his face taking sadder look. My mom went to look for me. That particular day a troll decided to wander outside the dungeon. The monsters were acting weird back then. Kurarama remembered that some time ago in one of the meeting of the gods, they discussed the problem of monsters acting weird. They were going to floors they normally didn't go to, some even trying to leave the dungeon. But the problem kinda solved itself. Some weeks later the monsters were normal again. So, I was lost close to the dungeon. When I hear this roar behind me I turn around and come to see the troll that had escaped the dungeon, said Naruto. His hands started shaking a little. I still get scared when I remember that moment. If you don't want to, you don't have to tell me, Naruto-kun, said Kurarama, worried for her new family. Don't worry, I think I need to get this out of my system, said Naruto, his hands shaking less. Well, the troll rushed me. I was paralyzed by fear. I couldn't move. When he was a few inches away from me, I heard my mother. She screamed for me to run. I did. I ran away. Naruto stopped to take a breath, and then he continued, hearing my mom. The troll decided to attack her instead of me. He didn't chase me, but I didn't care. I just kept running, said Naruto, now sounding a little angry. I didn't saw my mom again. A tear appeared in Naruto's eye, but he held it back. I'm so sorry to hear that, said Kurarama, feeling bad for making Naruto remember those memories. The next day, I discovered someone killed the troll. I never knew who, but at least it didn't hurt anybody else, said Naruto. Sometime later I decided I wouldn't run away anymore, that I would be strong enough to protect for those I care about. So I decided to be an adventurer. But not any adventurer. I would be the greatest of them all, the one that can protect everybody. That's a noble ideal, said Kurarama. Protecting those who are important to you is important, but remember, you don't have to do it alone. I'm here to help. I'm glad to hear that, Kurarama-sama. I hope that I will be able to protect you and everyone that becomes important to me, said Naruto. Come on, let's update your stats, said Kurarama, and they did it just like usual. Naruto removed his shirt, and Kurarama updated his stats on his back. But something was different this time. Wow, all BS, said Kurarama, looking as his stats updated. He had really become stronger, but then in the area below the stats letters appeared. Skill. The will to protect. Naruto had developed a skill. He had really done it, and Kurarama was happy because of that, but she didn't wanted Naruto to know he had it until she knew exactly what that skill did, so she had to read a little bit. Can you wait a little moment before I copy the stats, Naruto? I want to check something, said Kurarama, trying to keep Naruto patient until she figured out what the skill did. What do you want to check, Kurarama-sama? Did something happen to my stats? Asked Naruto, worried. He had heard her said all BS, so he was excited to check the stats. No, everything's fine, don't worry, just give a few minutes. Asked Kurarama, moving to grab a book. Now where is it? Thought Kurarama as she checked the book, then she found it. Here it is, the will to protect. It gives the user the ability to protect someone else or oneself for one time. Afterwards the skill needs some time to recharge. To protect someone else the person needs to want to protect said person. It activates on its own in the lower levels, but become inactive past level 3. Can only be gained at level 1. Kurarama didn't really understand the skill, but it seemed that it would help Naruto in some way, although that recharge time was worrying, since it didn't really specify how much time he would have to wait, but in the end there was no hurt in letting him know. Sorry for making you wait, Naruto. I just had to check this, said Kurarama. You got a skill. I got a skill. Asked Naruto, not really believing it. Yes you do, just let me copy it in a paper, said Kurarama as she copied the stats. There you go, she said as she handed him the paper. I got a skill, said Naruto, amazed. I got a skill, he repeated. I got a skill, Kurarama-sama, he said again as he stood up and grabbed Kurarama in a hug. The hug surprised Kurarama, but she couldn't complain. Yes you do, Naruto-kun, said Kurarama. I want to go test it, said Naruto, putting his shirt and grabbing his equipment, but before he could leave Kurarama stopped him. No you don't, said Kurarama, it's late and you already went to the dungeon today. You'll go tomorrow. She was in reality only worried about him. If he went now he would probably be too excited to fight properly. Apart from that, you don't know how it works. Naruto was too excited, he had to test this now, but Kurarama was right. You're right, Kurarama-sama, I don't know how it works, said Naruto. Good, now get to sleep and you'll test it in the morning, said Kurarama. Kurarama, with it they both decided to call it a day. The next day outside the Konoha dungeon, Naruto was too excited to go ask Ino if he could go further into the dungeon. He would do it later when he exited the dungeon. Right now he wanted to test the skill. According to Kurama-sama, it would activate by itself when he needed it, but he didn't know what that meant, but would probably find out on his own when the moment comes. "You're alone, adventurer-san?" asked a feminine voice to Naruto. Naruto looked around and found a short girl with short dark brown hair that was carrying a huge backpack. "Are you speaking to me?" asked Naruto, not being sure. "Yes, you're an adventurer, right?" asked the girl. "Yes, I am. Why you ask?" answered Naruto, more confused. "Well, you can't go into the dungeon without a support, can you?" asked the girl. "I have been going without a support since I started. I think I can handle," said Naruto. "What?" asked the girl. "Don't you know the benefits of having a support?" "Well, my advisor explained it, but I don't really want a support right now," said Naruto. "Come on, you should know that you won't get far that way," said the girl. "I know, I'll be your support for today. We can split the gains 50-50. If you still think you don't need a support after today, I'll leave you alone," said the girl. "I don't know, that's a good offer, but I don't really think I need a support," said Naruto. "You just don't know the benefits for yourself. Come on, just for today," said the girl. Naruto was getting a little annoyed, but he couldn't see why to say no, so he decided to accept the girl's offer. "Okay, just for today. I'm Naruto, by the way," said Naruto. "Thanks, you won't be disappointed," said the girl. "And my name's Hanabi. Now let's get going. We don't want to lose time, do we, Naruto-sama?" "Naruto-sama?" asked Naruto, seeing it weird that she was calling him that. "It's just a supports thing. We call the adventurer we work with Sama, since you are the boss technically," said Hanabi, explaining. "I see," said Naruto, not really sure. "I don't know if I'll get used to that." "You'll get used quick enough. Now let's get going, Naruto-sama," said Hanabi, heading to the dungeon, Naruto following behind her. Inside the dungeon, Naruto quickly came to see that having a support was really benefiting. Hanabi had told him about monster that could have flanked or surround them, and he had been able to prepare for them. Hanabi also helped him picking the crystals. With it they made it to floor 6 in no time. "We should start being more careful now," said Naruto when they made it to floor 6. "This is the farthest they have allowed me to go." "Don't worry, Naruto-sama, with what I have seen from you on the other floors, I think we'll be fine. I have worked with other adventurers that could go farther, and they were not half as good as you," said Hanabi. "We could probably make it to floor 10. "You think so?" asked Naruto. Maybe he had gained more strength than what he had thought from the last update and the new skill. "I'm more than sure, but you're the boss, so we'll go wherever you want to go," said Hanabi. "We'll stay here. I don't want to run into trouble. We've been fine till now, but I don't want to have to take too many enemies at the same time and leave you open to attack," said Naruto. "If that happens, I have some defenses too," said Hanabi, showing pouch she was carrying at her leg. "This is full with throwing weapons. I can use them to help you too, but since it has all been going so well, I decided to not use them till now." "You could have told me earlier. I would have fought better," said Naruto, wondering why she had not said anything about that, since now he had been so worried of a monster attacking her. "Sorry, Naruto-sama, it's just that it's second knowledge to adventurers that supports also carry supporting weapons to protect themselves and their adventure that I forgot to tell you," said Hanabi. "Never mind then, it just seems I need to learn more about being an adventurer," said Naruto. "Let's keep going. We still got a lot of time to burn." But that they kept exploring. Eventually they found themselves fighting a group of 5 fire lizards. "Be careful, Naruto-sama, if you let them emit their death cry we could get surrounded," said Hanabi. "In that case we're getting out of here, okay?" said Naruto, telling the plan to Hanabi. Naruto charged in. The lizards moved to attack as well. 2 of them charged their breath and expelled fire towards Naruto. He easily dodged it. The other 3 got close and tried to use their tails to strike Naruto to open him to an attack. Naruto dodged 2 of the lizards and cut the tail of the third one. He then proceeded to impale it where he knew the crystal was, and the lizard exploded. The others got in position to fire their fiery breath at Naruto. He could not evade it all. "Look out, Naruto-sama," said Hanabi as she threw a kunai she had in her pouch to one of the lizards. It made the lizard stop focusing on Naruto and change targets to Hanabi. It also gave Naruto enough space to evade the other fire streams. He moved and killed the lizard before it could get close to Hanabi. "Thanks, Hanabi," said Naruto. She had really saved him there. He would have not died, but he most unlikely would have had to use a potion if he took that hit. Now he could save it. "Don't worry, Naruto-sama, I'm here to help. Now defeat the other one," said Hanabi. Naruto did just that. He closed in and cut one of the lizards straight through the center. He then moved to evade the lizard that was about to breath fire at him and used the momentum to kill the other one. It was easy now. He got close once the mouth of the last lizard stopped shooting fire and he sliced right where the crystal was. "That was incredible, Naruto-sama," said Hanabi, seeing it how Naruto had defeat those lizards so fast. "Maybe we should go to the next floor floor, this one doesn't seem to be a challenge for you. Nah, I think that's enough for today, I don't really want to go further, and we still have to change those crystals, said Naruto. In reality he wanted to keep his promise to Ino. He would not go further without her permission, even if he really wanted to. If you say so, but I think we're losing money here, said Hanabi, starting to collect the crystals from the lizards. Don't worry, next time we'll go further, said Naruto as he started helping Hanabi. It took her a moment, but she caught it. So you're saying you want me to keep helping you as your support? Asked Hanabi. Yes, today was great, I don't have to go and see how much money we made, I already know it's more than what I normally do, and you're a great help in the dungeon, I could fight without worrying for ambushes, and I got all the way faster than normal, said Naruto explaining his reasoning. That's just the basic job of a support, said Hanabi. Okay then, let's start heading back, said Naruto as he finished picking the crystals and started heading back to the stairs to the previous floor, Hanabi behind him. Konoha's guild. When they arrived, Naruto told Hanabi to wait since he had to report first. He then looked for Ino. He found her fast enough. Hey Ino-san, said Naruto, catching her attention. Naruto, good to see you, I was worried when you didn't come in the morning, but afterwards I just thought you might have just gone to the dungeon directly, said Ino. That's exactly what I did, I was excited since yesterday I got a skill, said Naruto. He had kinda forgotten that he was going to the dungeon to test the skill, but it didn't activate, so he would have to wait for that. You got a skill? Asked Ino as her eyes grew wide open, showing surprised at level 1. Yeah, here's the paper, said Naruto, taking the paper out of one of his pockets and showing it to Ino. Ol BS. She said, surprised by the big growth he had in so short time and skill. The will to protect, I haven't heard about that one. Kurarama-sama said something about it activating on its own whenever I need it. It would let me protect multiple people or myself in a situation of danger. But we really don't know what that means, said Naruto, explaining what he knew. I see, well, I know some skills that activate by themselves are sometimes rare to activate at all, since some need really detailed circumstances to activate it, said Ino. Kurarama-sama also told me that I would be able to activate it by myself past level 3, said Naruto. That's really rare in skills like this one, they normally don't turn into an active skill. But since this skill seems to be rare, it could really do anything, said Ino. Also, I found a support today, her name's Hanabi, she helped me in the dungeon today. I wanted to report so we could go get the crystals changed into Ryo and split the pay, said Naruto. A support? Asked Ino. She had thought he would have waited more before he got one. That sound good, but afterwards you should do the paperwork for a support. It's not 100% necessary, but you should do it anyways. Okay, here's everything we got, said Naruto as he showed 4 bags full of crystals. It seems Naruto just kept surprising her. 4 bags, yesterday he had just 1, and the crystals also looked higher quality. There, I finished the report, go change it, said Ino. I don't want to keep your support waiting. Thanks. By the way, can I go further into the dungeon next time? Asked Naruto. It was hard to calculate where exactly she could let Naruto go, since she didn't know what the skill did, but with stats alone, he might be able to make it to floor 10, but since he was missing equipment, floor 9 will be alright, those stats are great, said Ino. Okay, I'm excited, I want to know what's down there, said Naruto as he left to go look for Hanabi. When he found her, she volunteered to change the crystals for him. He saw no evil in that, so he let her. She came back with 2 bags. I got to admit, Naruto-sama, when I met you I thought you would not be able to make that much money, but we got 6,000 Ryo, said Hanabi. 6,000? Asked Naruto, surprised. Yep, 3,000 for you and 3,000 for me, she said as she gave him 1 bag. Wow, we definitely need to keep working together, said Naruto. I would like that, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi. It's easy working with you. When will you go next to the dungeon? How about tomorrow, same hour as today? Asked Naruto. That's fine by me, see you tomorrow, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi, leaving. It seems he would be able to buy some equipment before the tournament. He had thought that he would have to stay with what he had until he turned level 2, but with how much money he would be making he might be able to buy another set of armor in a week. He could wait to tell Kurarama-sama. You got a support? Asked Kurarama, taken by surprise by the news. Yeah, her name's Hanabi and with her help I got 6,000 Ryo today, said Naruto, showing her the bag of Ryo, but since we split it, I just got 3,000. 3,000? That's more than enough. If you make that much every day you might get to buy some equipment before the tournament, said Kurarama, surprised since Naruto made just nearly half of that on his best day. That's exactly what I thought, Kurarama-sama, said Naruto. Maybe another weapon. Kurarama didn't want him buying another weapon just yet. She still had to wait for the tournament and let Naruto show up so that Jayuki could make her weapon for him, so she had to get his mind on another thing. How about armor? It would let you got deeper into the dungeon faster, since you would be more protected, said Kurarama, trying to get his mind on buying armor and not on buying a weapon, at least not for now. You might be right, Kurama-sama, if I get better armor I would be able to fight stronger monsters, and soon enough I would be able to buy a better weapon, and then it would be a straight shot to level 2, said Naruto. Exactly, said Kurama. Now onto the topic of the support. I think I should probably meet her, or at least you should ask her what familia is she a part of, since supports have to be part of a familia to be allowed to work on the dungeon. Why should I ask the Kurama-sama? Asked Naruto. You don't have to know, but it's better to know in case something happens, said Kurama. For example, the Gyuki familia is always throwing parties for some reason, and sometimes supports don't work on the day of the party. If she's part of that familia you would be able to prepare beforehand if she has to take an off day. That makes sense. I could stock up on potions or other stuff if I were to know I would have to go alone, or I could simply not go to the dungeon that day. It could be helpful to know, said Naruto. Correct. Also make sure to work with your support. If you work together everything can go so much better. She can spot enemies for you, and you have to be ready to protect her. Supports can normally handle low-level enemies, but against the stronger ones, you have to be the frontline, said Kurama. I already know that, Kurama-sama. I learned a lot about supports from Ino and Hanabi. But anything that I can learn is great, since it'll bring me one step closer to becoming a great adventurer, said Naruto, excited. Good, keep becoming a great adventurer, and I'll be sure to help you however I can, said Kurama. So let's update your stats. But that Kurama updated Naruto's stats, nothing got above B, but he was still becoming stronger and stronger. Soon enough he would level up. It was just matter of him having an adventure. Of course no one really knows what is considered an adventure, but Kurama was sure he would have one soon enough. The next day, Konoha's dungeon. Naruto had encountered Hanabi at the same place they had met yesterday. They then headed to the dungeon and soon enough made it to floor 6, ready to go down to floor 7. Well, it seemed you kept your promise, Naruto-sama. We're going further today, said Hanabi. I told you, didn't I? Said Naruto. I'm becoming even stronger with time, it's just a matter of getting good gear. Speaking about that, said Hanabi curiously, I was wondering why you still use beginner's gear. Well, I couldn't make the money to buy any good gear, but it will be a matter of a few days, and I will be able to buy better gear if we keep having as much luck as yesterday, said Naruto. I hope we do. The farther we go the better the crystals get, but also the harder the enemies get, so we might get better crystal but get less of them, reducing our gains, said Hanabi in a serious tone. Weren't you encouraging me to go to floor 10 yesterday? Asked Naruto. Of course, I'm sure that with you, Naruto-sama, we'll have no problems. As I said, you're one of the stronger adventures I have seen, said Hanabi in a cheerful tone. Okay, then let's get going to the next floor. But that they climbed down the stairs to floor 7, which was mostly a repeat of the last floor. The only difference was that now ants were gone for good and the amount of enemies increased. But the larger amount of enemies Naruto and Hanabi got in a pattern. When they found a group of enemies, Hanabi would use her throwing weapons first to damage them and lure them. This normally made them lower their guard towards Naruto that gave the finishing strike. Afterwards they picked Hanabi's weapons back up. Of course some groups of enemies were quite numerous, like the 10 goblin pack they found and decided to avoid. They also found an 8 lizards group that they avoided, simply because they were in a tight corridor. It took them some time, but they made to the stairs of floor 8. Starting down there we can find orcs, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi. I would recommend that we take it carefully. In floor 8 they are mostly unarmed, but on floor 9 is rare to find an unarmed one. I see. I'm not sure if a small knife would do the job. I know it can, but I will probably get hit thanks to my short range, said Naruto, analyzing his weapon. That can probably happen. That's why I said we should be careful. Applying the same strategy we used in this floor would work. It's simple, you just have to aim for the head after I damage them. This would bring them down, and if it doesn't, we just have to figure out where the crystal is and aim there the next time, said Hanabi. I suppose that can work, but if it turns dangerous we'll come back to this floor, said Naruto. You're the boss, Naruto-sama. I'm just trying to help, said Hanabi, assuring that she would follow Naruto's plan if it came to that. Okay, then let's get going, said Naruto, going down the stairs and into the 8th floor. In floor 8 you could still found every enemy from the last floor. Some goblins even had short swords instead of the regular daggers. Lizards were more rare. But also if you managed to find one it was probably in a big group, and also as Hanabi had said, the stray orcs, if you were extra unlucky, maybe even a minotaur from floor 9 that had managed to come up to floor 8. Naruto and Hanabi ran into a group of goblins after some time exploring the cave-like passageways of the floor. They had managed to surround them, showing how they had grown smarter this deep in the dungeon. This is dangerous, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi, pointing out that they were outnumbered by 8 goblins. One of them even had a short sword. Before the goblins could do anything, Hanabi took out 2 kunai from her pouch pouch, and Naruto took one, surprising her. Sorry Hanabi, I'll need this, said Naruto, as he decided to strike first before they could do anything. Naruto ran head straight into one of the goblins and slashed him with his knife, killing it instantly. The goblins that were near him tried countering by moving in and slashing him with their short daggers, but Naruto raised both his weapons and blocked both daggers, proceeding to move to the side and slashing the goblin that he had in front of him with his knife and throwing the kunai towards the other, killing them both. Hanabi didn't had it easy either. She moved towards the opening Naruto made when he attacked the first goblin and distracted the other two, making some space between herself and the rest of the goblins. One of the goblins had decided to ignore Naruto and move towards Hanabi instead. She saw him coming and threw several kunai towards him, but the goblin proved that he was smarter than the ones in the other floors by evading the kunai and closing in faster. Naruto noticed the goblin approaching Hanabi, but he had his hands full. He was currently evading the attacks of the rest of the goblins, but he managed to evade one, and then he closed in after the goblin swung. He grabbed his arm and disarmed the goblin, grabbing the dagger in the process. He then slashed the goblin he was holding with his knife, killing it, and threw the dagger towards the one that was closing in on Hanabi. He didn't kill it, but he grabbed his attention, making it a good target for Hanabi, that proceeded to kill it with a well-placed kunai. Thanks Naruto-sama, said Hanabi, giving a quick thank you to Naruto for helping her. The last three goblins decided to attack together. Two of them had daggers and the last one a short sword, but it seemed that it was a little heavy for him because he was moving more slowly than the other two. Naruto decided to take advantage of this. Naruto closed in before they could come closer, and he tried slashing the goblin in front of him, but he evaded by jumping backwards, something he had not expected. Then the one with the sword tried taking advantage of the situation, swinging towards Naruto, but a kunai that Hanabi threw struck him in the arm, making him drop the sword. Naruto regained his balance from the last swing and took the opportunity to kill the one that had just lost the sword. The other two goblins jumped forward in an attempt to finish the fight by tackling Naruto and stabbing him, but Naruto slashed one right in the middle, killing him, and Hanabi threw a shuriken right in the other's chest, where the crystal was located, killing him as well. Well, that was certainly harder than before, said Naruto, exhausted by the extended fighting. It was Naruto-sama. Other adventurers would have been killed by that same group of goblins, but you are stronger than most, said Hanabi. Do you think so? Asked Naruto. I think that without you I would have probably been killed as well. No need to thank me, Naruto-sama. I'm support, that's what I do, said Hanabi. And if I can suggest something, I think that's enough for today. We can go to the next floor another day. I think you need a weapon with longer reach. You might be right, even a short sword would have made that easier, said Naruto, but I was thinking about buying armor instead. That might have to wait. If you want to buy armor, that's no problem. We would just have to stay in floor 7 to make it easier on us, said Hanabi. After all, we're lucky that we didn't ran into an orc today. It would have probably ended bad. You're right, let's start heading back. I'll think about what to buy later, said Naruto, so sad that I can't take the enemy's weapons. Yeah, any weapon dropped by a monster in the dungeon disappears after a few minutes, but you can still use it if you manage to disarm one while you're fighting it, said Hanabi, while she finished picking the crystals that the goblins dropped, and they started heading back to the guild. Once they got out of the dungeon, a question came to Naruto's mind. Hanabi, who is it that you carry that big backpack all the time, but move just as fast as me? It looks heavy after all, asked Naruto. Oh, that simple, I got a support only skill that makes whatever I'm carrying lighter. The more I carry the lighter it gets, said Hanabi, but still there's a limit to how light one item can get, and it can get really heavy if I carry a lot of things. That sounds awesome, and it's perfect for a support, said Naruto, but if you got a skill that means that you are part of a familia as well, right? Said Naruto as he remembered what Kurarama-sama told him last night. Yep, I'm currently part of the Manda familia, said Hanabi, although she didn't sound really happy about being in that familia. I haven't heard a lot from that familia, said Naruto, trying to remember anything he knew about the Manda familia, but he couldn't. It's one of the biggest non-bijuu familia out there, said Hanabi, here in Konoha. It's matched by the Enma familia and Kitsuyu familia. It sounds like a good familia, said Naruto. Yeah, something like that, said Hanabi. Oh look, there's the guild. Let's get going, said Hanabi, changing the subject. In the guild, Naruto did his usual report, and Hanabi volunteered to change the crystals once again. Naruto let her do it. They made another 6,000 ryo, and they split it between them as they did before. Same time tomorrow, Naruto-sama? Asked Hanabi. Yes, see you tomorrow, Hanabi, said Naruto, and with that they parted ways for the day. It was still a little early, and Naruto was hungry, so he decided to go find something to eat. In the process, he remembered his encounter with Hinata a few days ago. He decided to go and try the food in the pub where she worked, Ichiraku's pub. It took him little time to make it there. It was actually in the way from his home in Kurama's apartment and the guild, so he could pass through here every day if he wanted to and stop to eat. He entered and noticed that indeed Hinata had not lied when she said this place filled up with people in the late hours, a lot of them were adventurers. They were sitting in groups and eating whatever they ordered while they told their stories of the day. Naruto found a lone table with one chair. He sat there and waited to be attended. It took little to no time. It seemed Hinata was the waitress, as she was the one to come and take his order. "Oh, Naruto-kun, you decided to come back," said Hinata when he noticed him. "Yeah, but this time, I'll pay for my meal," said Naruto. "Okay then, what's your order?" asked Hinata, seeing that he wanted to be treated like a normal client. "I was wondering if you by any chance got ramen," said Naruto, trying to see if he could eat his favorite food of all times. He couldn't even remember the last time he had ramen, but he definitely remembered that he liked it a lot. Hinata giggled a little. "That's Tucci-sen's special. I'll bring you one right away," said Hinata. She then headed back to the kitchen to give the order to the chef. Naruto decided to look around the pub while he waited. He could see the large amount of adventurers sitting and eating. It seemed this place was famous or something. He could also see a bar at the other side of the pub where they served the alcoholic drinks. A lot of men were around that area. The barkeeper seemed to be a man with silver white hair and face mask that covered his mouth, and also a headband that covered his left eye. Naruto wondered how he could work her looking like that. The man looked Naruto's way, and somehow Naruto could notice the man was smiling just from the one eye he could see. Naruto called it an eye smile. It was really weird. Apart from Hinata, there seemed to be another waitress that was currently throwing a man outside after he tried starting a fight in the pub. It seemed that those were not accepted here. There was also some stairs going up. It seemed that there was where the owner slept, since he hadn't noticed any signs that indicate this place is an inn as well. Right then Hinata came back with his plate of food. "One special Ichiraku ramen for you," said Hinata, putting the plate down. "Special Ichiraku ramen?" asked Naruto curiously at the strange name. "Well, the pub's called Ichiraku's, that's Tucci-san last name, and this is his special recipe, so he called it that," explained Hinata. "That makes sense," said Naruto. "Hope you like it," said Hinata, "and also Tucci-san said that he wanted meet you after you're done, so if you could go the kitchen after you're done he would really appreciate it." That's weird. Naruto had done anything for the man to try to meet him. Well, it didn't hurt. He supposed he could go see him later. "Okay, I'll go see him, that way I'll be able to thank him for the food as well," said Naruto. "Good. Now if you excuse me, I have to keep working," said Hinata. Naruto decided to take it slow. It had been so long since he had eaten ramen. He wanted to dive in so much, but he had to taste every bit of the ramen. He first tried the soup. It was nearly angelic, the best ramen soup he had ever tasted. He then tried the noodles, and Naruto thought he could faint after tasting so good noodles. This was the perfect ramen if Naruto could say so. Nothing would ever surpass it. It was then that Naruto made the decision. He would come here at least once a week for the rest of his life. Once he finished eating, Naruto decided to go and meet Tucci-san, as Hinata had called him. He would definitely go and thank him for that incredible ramen. He entered the kitchen to discover it was a pretty normal kitchen. A man was cooking there. He stopped for a little while once he noticed Naruto, but he returned back to his work immediately. "You must be Naruto-kun," said the man. Naruto figured was Tucci. "Yeah, did you heard about me?" asked Naruto. "Yeah, Hinata told me about you," said Tucci. "She said you helped her bring some stuff inside after she felt. I wanted to thank you for that." "No needs for doing it. I like helping people," said Naruto. "If anything, I should thank you for making such awesome ramen." A small smile crossed Tucci's face before he laughed a little bit. "You're welcome. But I have to thank you for ordering it as well. I was getting worried no one ever ordered the ramen," said Tucci. "Really? It was the best ramen I had ever had," said Naruto. "Well, our majority of customers come in groups, and they order food for the whole group, like meat, and of course they order a lot of beers," said Tucci. "If you want I can give you another bowl." "For real?" asked Naruto. "I haven't even paid the first bowl." "Don't worry, today's on the house, but I want you to promise me that you will come around again," said Tucci. "You don't have to make me promise that. I was coming back anyways. That ramen was just incredible," said Naruto. "I'm glad to hear that. Now go sit back at your table. I'll tell Hinata to take you another bowl," said Tucci. "Thank Tucci-san," said Naruto, excited for receiving another bowl of the great ramen. He returned by to his seat. When he returned, he was surprised to see that the pub had emptied a little. There were just a few people left at the pub. Well, it was getting late, but shouldn't this be the time it got full? After a little while, Hinata came by with his second bowl. "Here you go, Naruto-san. Tucci told me to bring you another one," said Hinata, putting the bowl down on his table. Say Hinata, why is the pub so empty right now?" asked Naruto. "It's just a slow hour. A lot of adventurers have patterns for going into and out of the dungeon. You must have one as well," said Hinata, explaining a little. "In 15 minutes the place will be full again. It's like this every day." "Oh, I see, and yeah, I have a kind of pattern," said Naruto, thinking about it a little bit, seeing that it indeed made some sense. "Say Naruto, can I sit here a little while? There's nothing more to do than wait, and AM-san has the last few clients," said Hinata. "Go ahead," said Naruto, seeing no evil in that. Hinata moved a chair of a nearby table and sat down. "Last time you told me you had a week from becoming an adventurer, right?" asked Hinata. Yeah, but a lot has happened since then, you wouldn't even notice that I have less than a month as an adventurer, said Naruto proudly. It seems like that, you know I have a sister, she went against the will of my father and joined a familia, and now she's a support I believe, said Hinata. I told her she shouldn't go into the dungeon, but she's too stubborn and just did it anyways. Do you have any idea why she did it? Well, I don't know her, but no one would go into the dungeon without a reason, said Naruto. Some want money, others fame or to become stronger. I don't think any of those reasons made her go there, said Hinata. I don't really know what made her go to so dangerous place. If she's a support she's safer than an adventurer. If you are really worried then you should ask her next time you see it, said Naruto. I'll try, but I haven't seen her in some time. I hope to find her, said Hinata worried, but she shouldn't have gone into the dungeon. I'm pretty sure she had a good reason, trust in her, after all she's your sister, right? Said Naruto. Hinata thought about it a little bit. I guess you might be right, I'll try to find her, said Hinata. Thanks Naruto-kun, I hope to see you another day. Don't worry, I'll come for more of this ramen another day, said Naruto, finishing his ramen. Tell Tucci-san thanks for the food. I better get going with that. Naruto left the pub back to Kurama's apartment. It had been a week since Naruto first entered floor 8, and the same day he first ate at the Ichiraku's pub as a client. The whole week Naruto and Hanabi went to floor 7 and defeat some monsters to get the pay for the day. Every time they were more efficient at it, making more and more money every day. Yesterday they had made nearly 10,000 ryo, and they again split it in half between both of them. Naruto had also turned stronger. Kurama had told him that he would probably get his first A rank stat sometime soon, and Naruto was excited for that. An A rank meant that he was as strong as a weak level 2 adventurer. It would mean he was closer to leveling up. He had not been able to find out what his skill did, but he had stopped getting angry over it after a few days. He figured that he would find out what it did eventually, and when he did, it would probably be because he would really need it. With his stats Ino had gave him permission to go to floor 10, but he hadn't even gone to floor 9 because of his poor equipment, and he didn't want it to put Hanabi in danger, but he would change that today. He had finally made enough money to buy some decent armor, he just had to find where to buy it. Luckily he had the full day to do it. Hanabi had told him she would not be able to go to the dungeon with him today. She had business with her familia, and because of that she would be busy all day. Since Naruto didn't know two things about weapons or armor shops, he decided to ask the same person that had told him where to find a good apothecary, Ino. So do you know somewhere where I could buy armor at a reasonable price? Asked Naruto to Ino when he paid her a visit early in the day. Ino thought about it a little bit and then said, are you free today, Naruto-kun? Asked Ino. I didn't see your support. Yeah, I'm free. Hanabi had some familiar business, so I decided to go look for equipment today, answered Naruto. Ino smiled and clapped her hands in front of her. Then I got an idea. Meet me at Konoha Park in an hour. I'll show you the shops, said Ino happily. Somehow Naruto had been convinced to go to see the shops with Ino. After an hour he headed to Konoha Park and waited a little bit for Ino, that arrived not so long after him. Sorry, did I made you wait? Asked Ino when she arrived. Not really, I just arrived as well, said Naruto, although he was a little nervous because all around them were couples meeting for dates or just sitting in a bench together. It almost looked like they were going on a date as well. Good, then let's get going. We'll check some shops around town, said Ino, grabbing Naruto's arm and nearly dragging him around. Soon after a little while and after Naruto freed his arm, they had arrived at one of the shops that was run by the Gyuki familia. It was overwhelming. Every blade seemed to be perfectly sharpened, and they looked that they would never rust, and the armor seemed impenetrable and light. It was just took Naruto 2 seconds to find out that he couldn't buy anything here. Ino-san, I can't buy anything here. I was looking for something less pricey, said Naruto. Ah, I knew that. I'm just looking for some things, and also it never hurts to see what is for you in the future. You could maybe find something you like and make it an objective to buy it someday, said Ino as she moved to look around, leaving Naruto alone for a little while. Naruto looked around. He found several things that fit the bill for what Ino said. Some armor was astonishing, and there were several weapons. He had not yet decided on which type of weapon he would want. He was debating between staying with knives or moving to something like swords or maybe even lances, but that was a debate he could think about another time. Right now he was just astonished by every single piece in the shop. Soon enough Ino looked for him and again dragged him away to another shop. They looked in several smaller shops, but found nothing. They finally ended in a small shop that mostly sold low-level equipment that was unfit for sale in big shops. It was a little out of the way, but Ino said that in places like this, you could find great deals. Are you sure there are good things here? Asked Naruto when they entered to look around. I'm sure, some of my colleagues told me that they found good things in places like this, said Ino. Okay, then I'll look around, said Naruto as he moved to the back of the shop to look around. He found several pieces of equipment that looked good, but they didn't fit well with him. He also found a really good heavy armor, but he was more of light armor type, so he mostly ignored it. Finally, when he was about to give up and tell Ino that maybe he needed more money and that he would save up to try another day, he found a box hidden away in a corner. He opened the box and found a set of armor that was similar to the beginner's armor, but it looked more robust and balanced. It was almost perfect for him. He checked the price and saw that he could buy it. He checked the armor a little bit more and found an inscription behind the chest plate. It read Jiang. It must be the name of the person that made the armor or maybe his surname. Naruto took it to the dealer and decided to buy the armor. It was just too good to let it go. He wondered why such a good armor was in a place like this. It wasn't a bad quality armor. It was almost as he had been stealing the armor for how low price it was. "So you found something you liked?" asked Ino as they were walking around after he bought the armor. "Yes, this armor was of a pretty good quality. I wonder why it was in a place like that," said Naruto. "Well, it looks like beginner's armor. Maybe they confused it with beginner's armor," said Ino, trying to find the answer. "Maybe," said Naruto. "Anyways, it is a pretty good set of armor. I can't wait to try it on and use it on the dungeon. With this we might be able to go to floor 8 with less troubles." "I bet you can now, although you have to be careful with fighting with that short knife," said Ino, reminding him the main reason he had stayed in floor 7 with Hanabi. "Although I wonder why you waited so long to buy armor. With how many crystal you came back every day. Even if you split it in half with Hanabi, you would have been able to come way sooner." "Not really, I just got enough money yesterday, and I got lucky today since Hanabi had to attend some familiar stuff, and that gave me a free day," said Naruto. "Maybe I just got the price of the crystals wrong," said Ino, thinking about it. "I'm still trying to learn everything I need to learn." "That could have been, although I got to say that you are doing a great job as my advisor, Ino-san," said Naruto with a smile on his face. "You explain everything I need to know and make sure I stay safe." Ino blushed a little because of Naruto's compliment. "Thanks for that, Naruto. I was not really sure if I was doing my job correctly, since you're the first person I have to give advice to," said Ino. "And also it's because you're a great person to work with. You listen to me and make sure follow my advice, so it's easy to work with you." "Really?" asked Naruto. "I just follow Kurama-sama and your advices. I don't do anything special." "That's the point." Some other advisor had told how their adventurers just go into deeper floors without asking or just ignore them altogether, especially the ones that are assigned to Manda Familia members, said Ino. "The Manda Familia?" asked Naruto. "Hanabi is in that familia. She sounds fine in there. I wonder what the problem with the others members is." "Well, most of the complaints is of members of that familia going to floors. They're not supposed to trying to make more money quicker," said Ino. "That sounds weird. Hanabi has been fine with us staying on floor 7, and since we work so well together, we make more money faster," said Naruto. "Well, who knows, we're looking into it. If we find out what's going on, we'll try to make it easier on the members," said Ino. "If it's something that could put Hanabi at risk, tell me please. We only met like a week ago. But I really like working with her," said Naruto, worried for his support. "Of course, if it's dangerous for the members of the familia, we'll take measures and make sure to stop it, or at least make it safer for the members. That's the main job of the guild, keeping adventurers alive," said Ino. "That's good to hear," said Naruto as he noticed that it was getting late. "Well, I'll be heading out. See you tomorrow, Ino-san." Ino smiled. "See you tomorrow, Naruto-kun. I had fun today," said Ino. Naruto gave a quick nod and left, seeing as it was still a little too early to head back home. He decided to go eat a bowl of ramen at Ichiraku's. Earlier that day, Kurarama had been looking around for some days now. She was looking for a job. As a goddess, she thought it would have been easy to find a job, but she had been wrong. Finding a job to get the money for rent was harder than she thought. She had promised Naruto that she would never take his money for rent again after the first time. Even if he was making more money now than back then, she planned on keeping that promise and let him use his money on things that he would need on the dungeon. She really wanted to help Naruto succeed, and making him give her money was not really helping. The day Naruto decided to join her familia was one of the happiest moments in her life. It had been such a long time since she could call someone part of her family. She had almost forgotten how caring for someone and working together felt. It was as if she was learning everything all over again. Leaving all and good memories aside, she needed to look for a job, and since it was so hard to find one, she had come with a solution. One she didn't like, but one she would have to take. Why did she had to have such a bad relationship with all of the other bijus? Well, at least Chimei and Son Goku didn't hate her, but they were not exactly happy when she visited. But that didn't matter right now. There was only one person that could probably help her with her financial problems, and that was Matatabi. Matatabi ran a series of shop that sold all kind of things, from equipment for the dungeon to furniture. She had made a lot of investment a long time ago, and it had worked out. She even sold most of the Gyuki familia weapons and armors. They had made a deal some time ago. She didn't know the details, but it seemed to be working. Still, Gyuki only sells his best equipment in shops within his familia. That way he makes the most amount of money out of those. I better get this over with, Matatabi will probably not be happy to see me, said Kurarama to herself when she was standing outside of Matatabi's office. She had even made an appointment to make sure she started with the right foot this time. It had actually surprised her when she found out that Matatabi had agreed to meet with her. Kurarama knocked on the door and waited for a response. Almost immediately someone inside said enter and Kurarama did so. So what brings you back here? Asked Matatabi as soon as Kurarama entered and closed the door behind her. I don't suppose this is a casual visit. Matatabi was a woman with long blue hair that she tied into two ponytails behind her. She had eyes of different colors, the left one being green and the right yellow. Kurarama was actually a little surprised that she was being so calm with her. She had expected something different. Well, I need some help, said Kurarama. If it's money I can't help you, after all you haven't paid Jayuki back yet, said Matatabi. I don't want you to give me money. I need some help finding a job, said Kurarama. I recently got a familiar member, and I don't want to make him pay everything. I want to help, and the only way is getting a job. A familiar member? Asked Matatabi, surprised. It has been so long since Kurarama has had one. Are you telling me you finally got out of your hole and searched for one? I wasn't in a hole, said Kurarama. I was just waiting a little bit. Anyway, that doesn't matter right now. The important thing is that I want to help Naruto, and doing nothing at home doesn't really helps. Naruto, heh? Asked Matatabi. That's his name. Well, you definitely seem devoted towards this. I believe he's more special than what you make him sound like. She got her there. His name is Naruto Uzumaki, said Kurarama. Uzumaki? Said Matatabi, looking surprised. Finally getting it. I see. Now I understand. So would you give me a job? I promised I will work my hardest. As long as the pay is enough to pay for my apartment, anything will do, said Kurarama. I think I can help you with that, said Matatabi. As you probably know, Shikaku's tournament is coming up, and I need more workers to help me with all the work. I think I can get you something. Really? Asked Kurarama, excited. Thank you, Matatabi. Don't worry, come back tomorrow. I would have probably find something by then, said Matatabi. Kurarama gave a nod and stood up ready to leave, and Kurarama, said Matatabi, stopping her on her tracks, make sure to not lose your familia this time around. I won't, I promise this time I'll do it right, said Kurarama, leaving. Uzumaki, huh? Said Matatabi to herself when Kurarama left. I think she just can't let go. I hope she does things right this time. On the way to Ichiraku's pub. Naruto was making it to Ichiraku's pub. He had not come here in maybe 3 days. He had wanted to come every day, but he had to save money to buy equipment. It was just the way of the adventure. On the way he heard something weird happening. He heard something that sounded like a fight going on in a close-by alleyway. He got closer to see better. There were two guys standing in front of a small girl. He couldn't identify the girl since she was looking away from him and had a hood on. He decided to hide and wait a little bit to see what happened. So do you have the money we need, he girly? Asked one of the men. I got it, now just leave me alone, said the girl, throwing a bag at the man's hands. She sounded rather familiar. Good, but I know you have more, give it to me, said the other man. I don't have any more, that's all I got, said the girl, sounding more defensive. Oh, I know you have more, you wouldn't risk getting on Orochimaru's list, and we can't risk getting on it as well, so give us the rest of the money, said the first man, drawing a knife. The girl seemed scared from her shift in posture. I told you I don't have any more, said the girl. Wrong answer, now we will have to do this the hard way, said the second man, drawing a knife as well. Don't worry, you won't be on Orochimaru's list anymore, said the first man, because you'll be death, said the man, bringing the knife down. Naruto was about to jump into action and save the girl when the man was stopped by another person. Naruto recognized the savior from Ichiraku's. He was the bartender with the face mask. You know, I cannot let you threat a girl like this, said the man. You two should probably run away while you still can. The man with the knife looked angry that they were interrupted. Who do you think you are? Asked the other man as he attacked the barkeeper, who evaded the attack easily, then proceeded to turn the man's arm he was still holding, making him drop the knife and throwing him towards the other man in one motion. I told you run away while you still can, or I will have to kill you, said the man. I have do it before, a clean cut right at the neck. The two men on the floor looked scared now and ran away. We will get you, girl, you better watch your back, said the men while running away. Here you go, missy, said the gray-haired man, giving the girl a bag. I believe this is yours. You shouldn't have helped me, said the girl, and now I'm in trouble with them. I couldn't let them do that kind of things to a girl, is not my style, said the man, taking a book out of a pouch and starting to read it. The girl seemed surprised by the book. You read that in public? Asked the girl, and in front of a girl. I'm sure you don't have a girlfriend. I don't need one, my job is all I have left, said the man. Anyway, missy, you should probably get going, as should I. You're right, I supposed you saved my life, so thanks for that, said the girl, walking away in the direction contrary from Naruto. Maybe you can repay me by paying a visit to your sister, said the man. The girl stopped and turned around, revealing a face Naruto knew well. Who do you know that, said Hanabi, surprised. I have my way, said the man as he continued reading the book. I can't go visit her, she would just get in trouble and try to get me out of the dungeon. I'm fine as I am, leave me alone, said Hanabi, turning around and running away. Well, I tried, at least I'll tell Hinata she's safe for now, said the man, and you should probably stop hiding, said the man, turning around towards Naruto. You knew I was here? asked Naruto impressed. I did, you were terrible at hiding, luckily it looked like the Missy didn't notice you said the man. My name is Kakashi Haddock by the way. Naruto Uzumaki said Naruto and what do you mean luckily she didn't notice? Well because now you can do as if you saw nothing today said Kakashi. Why Hanabi is my friend I need to help her said Naruto and it looked like you just put her in more troubles. I might have said Kakashi looking away from his book to say the following, but it still stands, she kept this a secret from you, so she doesn't want you finding out, you should let her tell you and not bring it forward. And let her stay in trouble, said Naruto angrily at Kakashi. Believe I know a lot more than you, it will come out, the truth always come out said Kakashi, and I'm not telling you to do nothing, make sure she stays safe, I won't be there all the time. But you can keep her safe, make sure you do. Naruto was still angry, why let her face this alone, he could probably help her, but he understood a little bit Kakashi's reasoning fine, I won't tell her for now, but I will talk with Kurama-sama said Naruto. I suppose Kurama is your familiar god said Kakashi. Naruto nodded then it's fine, talk to her, maybe together you can find a way to protect her. I will find a way said Naruto determined. And when you do me a favor, bring her to her sister, they need to talk to each other again said Kakashi. Her sister? Asked Naruto. Hanabi has a sister? Kakashi could not believe he was that dumb. Yes, Hinata and Hanabi are sisters, how's it you couldn't find out earlier? Naruto was surprised by the news, but he was right the clues were all over the place. Okay I'll do it, I'll bring Hanabi back to Hinata, but if she wants to stay as a support and explore the dungeon, I'll support her said Naruto. I think that's fine said Kakashi anyway, I hope to see you again at Ichiraku's one of this days kid, you have grown to be one of my favorite clients, see you later said Kakashi vanishing. But I don't buy anything from him said Naruto to himself confused by the statement. Naruto lost his appetite after that and decided that he needed to talk to Kurama-sama, so he started heading back home. Kurama's apartment. So you're telling me Hanabi, your support has problems with some guys said Kurama trying to get it all on her head. Yeah, Kakashi-san saved her from those guys, but they will probably return and try to hurt her again, said Naruto. I want to talk with Hanabi. But Kakashi told me to wait for her to tell me that she kept her to herself for a reason. I think he's right said Kurama surprising Naruto. He thought she would tell him to talk it with Hanabi. If she has kept her to herself is for some reason, just make sure she stays safe, if it gets too dangerous you can talk with her and try to find out what is going on. Naruto thought about it a little bit and got their reasoning. He was not completely happy with it, but he think they might be right. He would wait for Hanabi to tell him if anything was wrong. Okay I'll wait for her to talk to me said Naruto. I think that's the right thing to do, but remember this doesn't mean you can't do anything, you can keep her safe and try to find out what's exactly going on, you might find out some other way to help her said Kurama. I'll do that Kurama-sama said Naruto determined to keep his partner safe, even she didn't know that he was helping her. Naruto was getting ready to go to the dungeon, he was not particularly excited to go the dungeon today, he would have to do as if he saw nothing yesterday and not tell Hanabi anything. Not that he was going to do nothing, he would wait for an opportunity to try and get information from Hanabi, try and find out why those persons were taking money from her, and maybe found out who this Orochimaru they talked about was. They seemed to be afraid to get on some kind of list he has. He had been so caught up in what he was doing that he almost forgot that he had new armor. He went and put on the new armor, it fit perfectly, and it was pretty light but also strong. He had tried to make a hole on it with his knife, but he hadn't been able to. He felt great with this new armor, now he just needed a weapon, and he would be set, at least until he leveled up. Kurama-sama also woke up early today. Naruto didn't know why, but she seemed energetic. He left before her to arrive on time at the dungeon. He hoped Hanabi would go. He kinda left the option of Hanabi going away to hide from those guy out of his mind. He hoped that she stayed in Konoha, that way he would be able to help her. When he arrived to the area near the dungeon he was happy to find Hanabi waiting for him. She seemed as cheerful as always. There you are Naruto-sama, let's get going said Hanabi moving near Naruto as they moved towards the dungeon. Good morning Hanabi, what do you think of my new armor? Asked Naruto trying to think in anything to speak about. Oh that's good quality armor, where did you get it? In one of the Matatabi Familia's stores? Asked Hanabi. No, I found it in one of the small stores that sell the unwanted products of the big stores, said Naruto. Hanabi looked surprised by that, but this armor is really good quality, I can see it just by looking at it, why would they throw it at one of those stores? Asked Hanabi. I don't know, maybe they confused it with beginner's armor, or at least that's what Ino-san believes happened said Naruto. That might be said Hanabi thinking about it, with this we might be able to go higher, let's do that, let's try to get to floor 9 said Hanabi. Are you sure? Asked Naruto. It could be dangerous, after all I still only have this small knife. Don't worry we'll be fine, with your strength and that new armor I'm sure we can do it, said Hanabi confident that they could do it. If you say so said Naruto, but if it gets too dangerous we pull back. You're the boss Naruto-sama said Hanabi. With that they entered the dungeon and in little under an hour they were on the stairs leading to the 8th floor. See we had it pretty easy all the way here, with that armor they barely scratch you, Naruto-sama remarked Hanabi. That's true, but we also are pretty used to getting here, we have just been in floor 8 once remember remembered Naruto to Hanabi. But last time we were weaker and you didn't have that armor, this time it'll be easier said Hanabi. If you say so, but remember if it gets dangerous, we're leaving said Naruto. I know you said that earlier said Hanabi come on let's get going. Naruto and Hanabi went into floor 8, it was as they remembered it, and as Hanabi said it wasn't that hard, but they had yet to run into an orc. Orcs were bigger than goblins, generally even bigger than humans, but sometimes there were some that were just as big as humans. They had human-like appearance, but with long ears, long and sharp teeth, and green skin. They were also really muscular. On floor 8 they were unarmed, but deeper into the dungeon, they carried clubs and mazes of different materials. Another thing about floor 8 orcs is that they were actually pretty rare, almost as if they were not some of this floor monsters, and at the beginning people thought that orcs on floor 8 were just lost from floor 9, but in reality they also appeared here just that weaker and rarer. It was similar with strong enemies in deeper floors. When they first appear they are pretty rare, but the lower you go they become easier and easier to find. Eventually they might become the regular enemies in a floor. It seems you were right Hanabi. Floor 8 has been going fine, said Naruto seeing as they had been in floor 8 for a while without any problems, but they had still to find the stairs to the next floor. See I told you, now we should head to floor 9, and that way you will see that you are stronger than what you think you are encouraged Hanabi. You might be right, let's go said Naruto excited. He wanted to see if he could keep going and beat stronger monsters, but we still need to find the stairs. They should be a little bit further, if I remember correctly said Hanabi. Let's go look then said Naruto going forward and rounding a corner. He stopped when he saw what was at the other side. It was an orc, and behind him Naruto could see the stairs to the next floor. It seemed they would have to defeat him. The orc wasn't particularly big. It looked like he was just barely higher than Naruto. It was probably one of the weaker ones. Why did you stop Naruto-sama? Asked Hanabi curiously when she saw him stop. Naruto gave a few steps back as to not aggro the orc, and then spoke it's an orc, the first one we find. We should be careful and plan our approach, since it seems he hasn't noticed us yet said Naruto. We could just do what we have been doing, I'll distract him with projectiles, and you get close to finish him said Hanabi. That could work, but I don't want you to be in danger. This is an opponent we haven't faced before, said Naruto worried for Hanabi. Don't worry, I'll be careful said Hanabi trying to calm Naruto. Okay then, but if it gets dangerous I want you to run away said Naruto. If you say so Naruto-sama, but I don't believe we'll have many problems said Hanabi. Just make sure to stay safe okay said Naruto. I'll attract his attention first. When he come close you get his attention with your projectiles, and then I'll try to finish him off. That sounds like a plan said Hanabi searching for something in her pouch. She took a kunai out and handed it to Naruto. Use this to get his attention from a distance. Good idea, this will give a head start said Naruto. Get ready here, I'll go get his attention now. But that Naruto moved back to the corridor that lead to the stairs where the orc was positioned. He got close enough that he could throw the kunai, and did so hitting the orc right in the head. The monster then noticed Naruto and proceeded to charge towards him. Naruto was surprised by the speed of the orc. He started running backwards, and the orc followed him. When they passed Hanabi she threw several shuriken at the orc, making him stop following Naruto. The orc turned around to see the person that had thrown the shuriken, and when he caught sight of Hanabi charged towards her. But he didn't make it far before Naruto used the opportunity to get close and stab the orc on the back of his head with his knife. It didn't kill the orc immediately, but it did made him stop focusing on Hanabi. He turned around and quickly moved to punch Naruto with his higher strength. Naruto quickly evaded. The orc had caught him by surprise. He expected it to die when he stabbed him. When the orc turned around Naruto had let go of his knife. It was still firmly fixed in the orc's head. As it continued with a barrage of punches Naruto could only evade soon enough. Naruto hit a wall behind him and got nowhere else to run. Naruto-sama used this, said Hanabi throwing another kunai towards Naruto. It hit the wall besides him, and he grabbed it quickly as he avoided another punch by the orc that impacted with the wall making a small hole on the point of impact. Thanks Hanabi said Naruto thanking his support quickly before going back to fighting the monster. Now Naruto understood why a longer reach weapon was needed. His knife or the kunai he had in hand were so close range that it was pretty hard to fight monsters like the orc they were fighting. The orc screamed and charged towards Naruto once again. Naruto only had a few seconds to evade to the side, and he used the opportunity to move behind the orc and slash him directly at the neck. The orc screamed in pain as he was slashed. Naruto grabbed his knife that was firmly fixed on the orc head and pulled it out and then slashed at the other side of the orc's neck, making him fall to the ground and exploding, leaving behind his magic crystals. That was harder than I thought it would be said Hanabi getting closer to Naruto. And they're supposed to be armed in the next floor, said Naruto tired sitting down to take a breath. But we dealt with it and now you're bound to be stronger. It'll be easy to go further to next time said Hanabi. Naruto Naruto thought about it a little bit. You're right, let's try going to floor 9 next time. For now let's stay here and get some crystals in floor 8, said Naruto. And that's what they did. They stayed some time in floor 8 killing monsters. They were lucky that they didn't run into any other orc for the day. Soon enough they headed back to the guild. 7 bags full of crystals, this should be a big paycheck, said Hanabi as they were heading to the guild. Yeah, this is the best we have done till now, although they are still not great quality, said Naruto. Yeah, in these floors we have to kill a lot of monsters to get a good amount of money, but adventurers that go deeper normally only get 1 or 2 bags of high quality crystals, and they get an even higher amount of money than us, said Hanabi. I heard that crystals get bigger when you go deeper. I wonder how strong the monsters in the deeper floors are, said Naruto. They must be pretty strong. If that orc was an example of the floors to come, it means we will find stronger and stronger monsters the deeper we go, said Hanabi. They stopped talking since they arrived at the guild. Naruto went and reported to Ino what they had gotten in the dungeon, and then Hanabi changed the crystals again. Here you go, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi, handing him a bag of ryo. We made 10,000 ryo this time. That would be 5,000 for each of us. 10,000? Asked Naruto, not believing they had made so much. Yep, I couldn't believe it either, but we stayed pretty long in the dungeon today, said Hanabi. That's true, and we went early as well, said Naruto. So same time tomorrow? Asked Naruto. Well, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind entering a little later tomorrow. I have some stuff to do, said Hanabi. No problem, I'll maybe go to the apothecary and pick some more healing potions early tomorrow, then said Naruto. Okay then, see you tomorrow, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi as she left. As Hanabi left, Naruto wondered if he should follow her. After all, he wanted to make sure she was safe, but as he moved to follow her, she was nowhere to be found, so Naruto headed back home. Earlier that day, Kurarama had woke up early so she could get ready to go see Madatabi. She had told her that she would have something for her today. Naruto also woke up early. He must have been worried about his support. He had told her about what he saw yesterday. She had advised him to try to help her without telling her. It was the best way. If he was to direct, she might just run away and not let Naruto help. She kept it a secret for a reason. He needed to find out what was the reason before he could do anything. She knew that it probably wasn't the best solution to the problem, but if what he told her was true and Hanabi was part of the Manda Familia, she didn't want it to have troubles with the Manda Familia. If this wasn't treated carefully, they could enter a war game, and with only Naruto, it would be suicide to enter one. For now, Kurarama decided to let Naruto handle the problem with Hanabi. There was not much she could do anyways. They needed to find out more before she could be of any help, so she decided to focus on her meeting with Madatabi. Kurarama did a final check to make sure she was ready and then headed to her meeting with Madatabi. When she arrived at Madatabi's office, she stopped herself from just opening the door and going in, as she would have done in the past, and instead she knocked. Maybe that was one of the reason everyone hated when she visited, who knows. Come in, came Madatabi's voice from the other side. Kurarama opened the door, and Madatabi signaled her to sit down, and she did. You came back, it's actually a little surprising. You expected me to not return? Asked Kurarama. Well, considering your track record, said Madatabi, you have never worked since you descended, from what I know at least. I have worked, said Kurarama, not many times or in any particularly good job or any job that involved physical labor, but I have worked. That says a lot about your abilities, pointed out Madatabi. Anyway, I got a job for you. Really? Asked Kurarama. What do you got? Well, it's the only thing I could find, said Madatabi, opening a drawer in her desk and taking out a uniform. You'll be selling products during the tournament coming up, mostly weapons and armor. You don't have anything that requires less standing around and talking to people? Asked Kurarama. I know you don't like talking with strangers that much, but this is the only thing I got. Also, you don't have to work for 2 weeks when the tournament starts, and I'll still pay you the full month, said Madatabi. Kurarama was not particularly fond of talking with people. When she first gave up her powers and joined the humans, she had been attacked because of what she had done in the past. With time, people forgot about her, but she still feared someone attacking her. That was part of the reason she hadn't been able to find a job till now. Also, you won't be alone. I'll have several other sellers around. You just have to smile and show them the product. Let others talk, said Madatabi. That sounds better, said Kurarama. But you should really work in getting better at talking with people, said Madatabi. You said you would work your hardest in whatever job I gave you, right? It's true she had said that. Yes, said Kurarama. And you also want to help you familia in any form you can, right? Asked Madatabi. Kurarama nodded. Then you will probably need to contact a lot of persons in the future, and if your familia gets more famous thanks to the kid, more people will come towards you, so you should work on it. That was true. Kurarama hadn't thought on that. She needed to work on that. I'll work on it. I'll get better and give it my all at the job, said Kurarama. Good to hear, said Madatabi. You start the day the tournament starts. Come here 1 week before that to receive the adequate training. That would be all. Okay, thanks, Madatabi, said Kurarama, standing and walking to the door. Don't mention it, just make sure to not blow it this time, said Madatabi. I won't, said Kurarama, exiting and heading back home. Kurarama's apartment later that day. When Naruto arrived home, Kurarama-sama was already there. Welcome back, Naruto. I hope everything was alright today, said Kurarama. It was great, we even defeated an orc, but I don't know where Hanabi went after we finished. I would have liked to make sure she stayed safe," said Naruto. "I'm sure she'll be fine. After all, she did risk going to the dungeon with you today. If she was in big trouble, she would have probably hid away," said Kurama. "That might be true. I hope she stays safe," said Naruto. "Worrying about that now does not help you. Let's just update your stats for now," said Kurama. "Yeah, you're right," said Naruto, removing his shirt and laying down so that Kurama could update his stats. Kurama updated his stats as she always did. "Wow, Naruto, you are really becoming strong fast. You got your first air rank," said Kurama. But then she was surprised. "Scratch that, you got several air ranks." "Really?" asked Naruto, excited for his grow in strength. "Did I really got several air ranks?" "Yes, you are really special, Naruto. You've become pretty strong in a few weeks," said Kurama, grabbing a piece of paper and copying his stats. Naruto quickly stood up and grabbed the paper from Kurama's hands. "Wow, in A in speed and in stamina, I'll be level 2 in no time," said Naruto, excited. "You still need to have an adventure," said Kurama. "That's true. What's an adventure anyways?" asked Naruto. "Well, no one really knows, it just kinda happened," said Kurama. "I wished it was easier to know what an adventure is," said Naruto. "That way I could level up faster." "It'll eventually happen, you just focus on staying alive and getting stronger," said Kurama. "I will, Kurama-sama," said Naruto with a smile in his face. "There's no way I'm dying until I become the greatest adventurer there is." Next day, in front of the dungeon, Naruto had arrived a little early and was waiting for Hanabi outside the dungeon. She had told him that they would enter later today, but they had not said an hour, so he just went to the apothecary, bought a few potions, and then headed here to wait. He had been here nearly 30 minutes already, but he thought that it wouldn't be that long before Hanabi arrived. "Hey you," said someone behind Naruto. "I know you, you've been going to the dungeon with that girl." Naruto turned around to see who was talking to him and was surprised to see the two men that had been tried to kill Hanabi that day. "What do you two want?" said Naruto. "Well, you see the girl, Hanabi, that has been going to the dungeon with you, she owns us some money," said one of the men. "You should stay away from her, she is probably stealing money from you," said the second man. "I wouldn't trust her." "Hanabi would never do that," said Naruto. "Now get away, you two are annoying me." "Man, we don't want any trouble, we just want you to help us," said the first man. "I wouldn't help you ever," said Naruto, not wanting to discuss with them anymore. "You haven't heard our offer," said the second man. "It's pretty good." "I won't hear it, whatever it is I don't want to be part in it, so go away and leave me alone," said Naruto, starting to move away from the two men. "Now you're pretty annoying boy," said the first man. "We're just trying to help you here." "Yeah, as if I believe anything you say," said Naruto. The second man seemed to be pissed with Naruto's attitude and moved closer. "I told you he wouldn't help, let's just get rid of him," said the man, trying to punch Naruto. But Naruto evaded the punch and countered with a punch to the man's stomach. "Leave me alone, I don't want anything to do with you two," said Naruto, moving away from the two. "Don't tell us that we didn't warn you later," said the first man. "You regret it." Then the two men headed towards the dungeon and entered it. Soon enough later, Hanabi appeared as cheerful as always. "Morning, Naruto-sama, anything wrong?" asked Hanabi, seeing him angry. "Nah, just some people annoying me, let's head to the dungeon, I need to let some steam out," said Naruto. "Right behind you, Naruto-sama," said Hanabi, and the two headed to the dungeon. But unbeknown to Naruto, Hanabi had watched his interaction with the two men, at least the beginning. After seeing the men, Hanabi decided to hide to not be seen. She wondered what had the two men told Naruto. Was he going to betray her and give her to them? Hanabi could only hope she was wrong, but maybe she had to stop joining Naruto in the dungeon. Konoha Dungeon Floor 8. Naruto and Hanabi had just killed another orc. This time it had been easier than before, since Naruto now had stats on the air ranks, and they had learned some of his attacking patterns from last time. But still, this version was unarmed. They still didn't know how strong the version with a weapon would be. "I feel a lot better after that," said Naruto. "How about we head to the next floor, Hanabi? If we work together, I'm sure we'll be fine in the next floor," said Hanabi. But that was the problem, she wasn't sure if they were still working together. It might be a trap, so that Naruto could hand her over to those guys. Adventurers did that all the time, they could betray someone for money. "Let's go then, if I remember correctly the stairs to the next floor are around here," said Naruto. "Right behind you," said Hanabi, following Naruto. She should have gotten away from him, but there was something telling Hanabi that Naruto was different. He wasn't like all the other adventurers. Soon enough they were on the 9th floor of the dungeon. It wasn't different from all the other ones so far. The only difference, as in all the other floors, was the type of enemies you could encounter. By now it was nearly impossible to find lone enemies, unless they were orcs or the few stray minotaur that were rare in this floor. "We should be careful now. If we find an orc, it won't be like the one on the last floor. It'll be armed, and it will be really hard to fight with just your knife's short range," said Hanabi. "We'll have to be smarter than before and use some tactic to get close," said Naruto. "Correct, so we need to move together. We can't let one of us be attacked while they're alone. It could really get us in a bad situation," said Hanabi. "Stay close then, I'll go in front," said Naruto, starting to move ahead. "Watch my back and tell tell if any monster appears. And that's what they did. They moved through the floor, easily slaying groups of goblins and some fire lizards. It wasn't that different from the previous floor until they rounded a corner and saw an orc. They weren't as rare as in the last floor, and they were stronger than before, so facing it would be hard. That orc is carrying a club, which gives him extra range, said Hanabi. We should plan something before going in. I got an idea. I thought of this during the fight with the last one, the one that was unarmed, but it should work just fine, said Naruto. What idea, Naruto-sama? Asked Hanabi. Well, the orc seems to attack whoever attacked him last, even if you deal less damage than what I do, said Naruto. So if we can switch a grow constantly, it'll be easier. That makes sense. It might be strong, but an orc is pretty dumb. We might trick him to move in circles, said Hanabi. Exactly, so I'll start this one. I'll bring him this way, avoiding the club. You need to hide so he doesn't see you, and when we pass you anger him, so that I can hit him from behind. I'll try to end it right there, or else it'll be dangerous, said Naruto. That's what we did with the first one, said Hanabi, but this time we'll be more organized. Yeah, something like that, said Naruto. Okay, then get ready, I'll get his attention, said Naruto, rounding the corner and running to the orc. Wait, Naruto-sama, we should prepare it a little more before charging in, said Hanabi, but Naruto had already ran off. Naruto made use of the fact that the orc was turned around, and he got the first strike without much danger, hitting the orc directly in the area where the human ribs would be. Well, orcs were pretty similar to humans, their physiology could maybe be the same. Naruto made sure he still had his knife in his hand, and immediately jumped backwards, making more space between them, a correct decision since the orc turned around in rage, swinging the club backwards, in the process hit where Naruto had been just a second ago. The orc charged in rage, swinging the club furiously, not leaving much space for Naruto to dodge. Come on, you stupid thing, come this way, said Naruto, running the way he had came towards where Hanabi was waiting for them to pass. When he passed, he looked to the side, seeing that Hanabi was just barely ready to hit the orc when it passed. As soon as the orc passed, Hanabi threw a barrage of kunai to the orc, making him scream in pain, turning around to see his attacker. Hanabi got ready to run away, but the orc did something unexpected. He threw his club directly at Hanabi's escape route, making her have to avoid the attack, but now the orc was closing in really fast, and she was directly in the way. Naruto saw this and decided he needed to act fast. This particular orc was a little bit higher than Naruto, so he used that to his advantage, and he jumped on his back, holding on and extending his arm, so that he could strike directly in front of the neck of the orc with his knife. Naruto then pulled out the knife from the orc's neck and continued striking at different points of the neck. The orc struggled trying to grab Naruto, but when he was getting close, he stopped and fell to the floor, exploding, leaving behind his crystal and something else. Close one, I didn't thought he would throw his club, said Naruto. Are you alright, Hanabi? Hanabi fell to the floor sitting. It had really been scary. She thought she would die right there. Luckily Naruto had saved her. I think I am, said Hanabi. What about you, Naruto-sama? I'm good. It seemed you and Ino-san were right. I am getting strong pretty fast. I think I could take on 3 of those things without rest in between, said Naruto. Yeah, you are getting pretty strong, said Hanabi. I have never heard of a rookie getting A ranks in less than a month. What's that anyways? Asked Naruto, looking at something the orc had dropped. It looked like metal spike of some kind. That's a drop item, said Hanabi. Different from dropped weapons from the monsters, this don't disappear. You can take them outside and sell them or do other things with them. What's this anyways? It looks like a metal spike, said Naruto, grabbing it and looking it closely. I think it's called orc armor part. That orc must have been wearing a piece of armor, and we didn't notice, said Hanabi. Naruto thought about it and then remembered that the orc had a small protector on his leg. He had not paid attention to it, since it was useless protection for the orc. It didn't even cover the areas one would attack to get him to fall. If one wanted to attack the legs, you're telling me orcs can wear armor? Asked Naruto. They can, but I didn't bring it up since it's really rare in this floors. They start wearing armor on a later floor. It's a strange occurrence, and even if one has armor, it'll just be one piece or pretty crappy armor that doesn't cover anything important. It's mostly ignored in this floors if one has armor, since it does nothing, explained Hanabi. You're really knowledgeable, Hanabi. Where did you learn all this? Asked Naruto. I read a book on the first few floors on the dungeon to get to know it a long time ago. I don't remember much, but this made me remember the chapter about orcs, and I remembered all that, said Hanabi. So that orc was a special one, said Naruto, pocketing the armor piece. Just as how you are special and grow stronger really fast, said Hanabi. I might be special, but I still need to get stronger, said Naruto. I should have never let it get so close to you, Hanabi. I got you in danger. That settled Hanabi's mind. There was no way Naruto was going to betray her, so why was he talking with those guys? You know, Naruto-sama, when I arrived this morning I saw you talking with some guys. What did you talk about? Asked Hanabi. Well, nothing important, they just offered me something, and I told them I would not work with them, said Naruto. Did the job had anything to do with me? Asked Hanabi, her cheerful tone getting out of her voice. It seems she wanted to talk about that. Maybe he could get some info now. They did mention you. They said you owned them money and that you were trouble, but I told them to go away. So you're not going to hand me over to them? Asked Hanabi directly. She figured it would be better to be direct. This caught Naruto by surprise. I would never betray a friend, said Naruto, especially when that friend is in trouble and I want to help them with it. So you know about it? Asked Hanabi. I do, I saw you and those guys talking in an alley, and then this guy Kakashi came and recued you. I was about to jump in when he did, said Naruto. Why were you letting those guys bully you anyways? It's because of a member of the Manda Familia, Orochimaru. He asks everyone to pay a fee at the end of the month, and if you don't he adds you to his list, said Hanabi. What's so bad about a list? Asked Naruto. Well, if you're on his list he takes you away. Some say he experiment on those people, said Hanabi, since only a few return, and the ones that do return stronger and loyal to Orochimaru. Has no one told the familiar god? Asked Naruto, surprised by the revelation. It's useless. Manda-sama has Orochimaru on a pedestal. To him Orochimaru could never do anything wrong, said Hanabi. Then why don't you leave that awful familia, said Naruto. I can't, I don't know where to head if I leave the Manda Familia. No one wants an ex-member of that familia in his. It could bring in a war game, said Hanabi. I love being an adventurer. I might just be a support, but that's enough. I don't want to leave the dungeon. You could come to my familia. I'll talk with Kurarama-sama, said Naruto. You can come and meet her today. I can't do that. I can't get you or your goddess in danger. It could start a war game, said Hanabi. Just come and meet Kurarama-sama today. You don't have to join if you don't want to, but I would like you to do it, said Naruto. That sounded reasonable. Okay then, I'll meet Kurarama-sama, said Hanabi. One more question, said Naruto. Why open about this now? I couldn't take it anymore. You have always treated me so good, and I have just done bad things behind your back, said Hanabi. I stole some of the money we made. We were not splitting it 50-50ths. We were doing it 70-30ths at the beginning and 60-50ths last time. I also was going crazy not knowing if you would betray me and hand me over. But after you said that you would become stronger just to avoid me getting in danger, I just needed to know if you would hand me over, so I just asked, said Hanabi. As I said, I would never betray a friend, said Naruto. I'll become the greatest adventurer there is, and the greatest would never use others as stepping stones. He would find his own way to the top, but that way doesn't have to be a lonely one. That's rather deep for you, Naruto-sama. If I didn't know it was you I would have tackled you and asked what you did with the real one, said Hanabi. Hey, said Naruto. Anyway, I think that's enough for today. Let's return. We'll speak with Kurarama-sama before doing anything else. Okay, right behind you, said Hanabi, her cheerful tone returning to her voice. Kurama's apartment. Well, Naruto lied. They did something else before going to meet with Kurarama-sama. They passed through the guild reporting and changing the crystals before going to see Kurarama-sama. But they didn't do anything else. They didn't mention anything about the Manda Familia to Ino or anyone else. When they arrived at Kurama's apartment, Kurama was there and they explained the situation. I see, that's certainly a problem, said Kurama. So can you help her, Kurarama-sama? Asked Naruto. I got a plan that might work, said Kurama, but you would need to contact those two again, Naruto, and you'll need something else. What would I need? Asked Naruto, willing to do anything to help Hanabi. I'll give you a list of thighs you need to get, said Kurama. Wait a little while. You shouldn't do any of this. You can end in trouble if you do, said Hanabi. Don't worry, if my plan works it'll be alright. You'll even be able to go the dungeon like normal, said Kurama. I said I would do anything to help Naruto, and now he wants to help you, so I'll help you as well. I don't know what to say, said Hanabi. Then say nothing, said Kurama as she finished writing the list of things they would need. Here, Naruto, if you could go buy these things we'll be set. Naruto grabbed the list and read it. I see, but I don't know where to buy half of this thing, said Naruto. Just go to the shop where you bought your armor. They should have some of them there, said Kurama. Go now. I need to talk some things with Hanabi. Okay then, said Naruto as he left to buy the things in the list. What did you send him to buy? Asked Hanabi. Half of the things I wrote down are useless, really. I just needed him to go away for now, said Kurama. Now I need to talk to you about something. About what? Asked Hanabi, nervous. Firstly, if this goes right you won't be able to walk around the city as normal, so I'll need to teach you a little jutsu I got here. I didn't thought it to Naruto, since it's not really a combat jutsu, and it serves no purpose, but it's really helpful in this situation, said Kurama, remembering the awesome magic scroll she bought a long time ago for a lot of money. It turned out to be a total rip-off, but at least it finally would be useful somehow. Jutsus or magic could be taught to another person if one chooses to. The catch is that if the other person has no affinity towards the jutsu being taught, then he or she can't learn it. Some jutsus can be learned by everyone, but those are mostly useless, like changing the color of your hair or things like that. The one Kurama was teaching Hanabi was one of those, the useless kind of jutsu. Then Kurama's friendly face disappeared and she released some killing intent that put Hanabi on edge. Secondly, if you ever put Naruto-kun in danger intentionally, I'll personally make sure that you don't ever lay a foot on the dungeon ever again, said Kurama, having a small pause between the last few words. I'll never hurt Naruto-sama, said Hanabi nervously. I promise. Good, now let's practice this jutsu, said Kurama, showing Hanabi the skill so that she could practice it. Some hours later, I got everything you asked for, Kurama-sama, but I don't know how 30 bags of potatoes are going to help, said Naruto. They won't, there are food for the next few days, days, said Kurarama. Naruto almost fell to the floor. I thought we were helping Hanabi here, said Naruto. We are, did you got the things on the top of the list? Asked Kurarama. Yeah, they're in this bag, said Naruto, showing the bag. But give those to Hanabi tomorrow, she's going to use them, said Kurarama. Now all you have to do is meet those guys again. About that, why do I need to meet with them? Asked Naruto. Well, I'll explain it to you on the morning, you'll have to work on it tomorrow, said Kurarama. For now go to rest. Where's Hanabi? Asked Naruto, not seeing her anywhere. She left earlier, I already told the plan to her, she'll go with it, you just have to meet her in front of the dungeon tomorrow like always, after you have talked to those guys, said Kurarama. If this works, what are we going to do about the Manda Familia? Asked Naruto. Kurarama had not thought so far ahead, she had to do something about that guy Orochimaru, but she could not go and talk with Manda, that would go poorly. All we can do is give the info to the Konoha guild and wait for them to do something, said Kurarama. If you say so, Kurama-sama, said Naruto. I'll go to sleep. Good night, Kurama-sama. Good night, Naruto-kun, said Kurarama. Next morning in front of the Konoha dungeon, Kurarama had explained the plan to Naruto this morning. He had gone out early as to wait for those two in front of the dungeon. They would probably pass through here to go to the dungeon as they did yesterday, at least he hoped. Just as he thought that he saw them, they were heading into the dungeon. Naruto approached them and stopped to talk to him. What do you want, brat? You made yourself clear yesterday, said the first man. You see, I didn't have all the facts yesterday. I listened to your words and I found out that it was true that girl was stealing from me, said Naruto. So I thought that maybe the job proposal was still up. The second man smiled. See, I told you she was dangerous, said the man. Now then, if you are going to help us, all I need you to do is take the girl to the 9th floor of the dungeon. We'll meet in a corner near the stairs to the 10th floor. We'll leave a mark so that you know the direction. Okay, but what about the pay? Asked Naruto. 50,000 ryo we'll give to you when the job is done, said the first man. We'll be waiting. But that the two of them headed into the dungeon, Hanabi appeared short after. Is everything set? Asked Hanabi. Yep, here you go, said Naruto, handing her the object she would need. I hope this works. If it doesn't, then I won't be able to stay in the dungeon anymore, said Hanabi. It will. Now we have to head to the 9th floor. Let's give them some time. Let's go wait in the 7th floor, said Naruto. Right behind you, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi, following Naruto. They made it there pretty quickly and then waited for about an hour before heading further. It didn't took them long to pass through the 8th floor and then they were on the 9th floor. We're supposed to meet near the 10th floor stairs, said Naruto, but we haven't found them yet. It should be somewhere this way, said Hanabi, taking one of the multiple corridors. It led to a big cave-like empty space. This is different. The other floors didn't have spaces like this, just corridors and open areas near the stairs, said Naruto. These areas can attract larger numbers of monsters, so we should be careful near them, said Hanabi, or just stronger monsters in general. Minotaurs are more likely to appear here, for example. I see, so we should stay clear from areas like these, said Naruto, at least for now. Correct, let's keep going, said Hanabi, moving forward. They fought several groups of smaller monsters on their way to the meeting area, but soon enough they found the stairs, and just as they had said, they had left a mark on one of the walls to show where they were headed. Okay, now is when we put the plan in action, said Naruto. I wonder if we'll be able to do it. Maybe we should bait them somewhere else. This place is not good, said Hanabi. You might be right, Hanabi, said Naruto, looking around. Maybe we could bait them to that room back there, the big one. That could work, said Hanabi. Just follow me when I go there. Okay, now let's do this, said Naruto, walking forward to where the meeting place was. Soon enough he saw the two men waiting for them. The girl is still conscious. What were you thinking, man? Asked one of the men, looking at them arrive. Naruto-sama, how could you do this? Asked Hanabi, faking being in shock, and then she ran away. I thought you two would be smart enough to hide. Now come on, we need to catch her, said Naruto, hating every word that came out of his mouth, but he had to stick to the plan. Hanabi, on the other hand, had arrived at the big room. Well, I hope this works, said Hanabi. Then she grabbed two green ball-like objects from her bag and dropped them. Bait, it'll attract monsters here. Now it all depends on Naruto-sama, said Hanabi, waiting for him. Soon enough Naruto arrived just outside of the large room with the two men behind him. Suddenly the room started filling with monsters, some goblin and lizards. What the hell is going on? There are a lot of monsters, said the first man. Maybe we should get out of here. If she moved through here, she's probably dead by now, said the second man. No, we need to check. If we report something incorrect to Orochimaru-sama, he'll have us in there next time, said the first one. But before they could even come with a plan to tackle the task of checking the room flooded with monsters, they saw something that changed their minds. An orc had entered the room holding a hammer in his hands, attracted by the bait that was hidden in the room. That's the stronger class of orc you can find in this floor, said one of the two men. We might be able to defeat it, but we can't do it with all those other monsters in the way. It would be suicide. She's deaf. There's no reason to think otherwise, said the other man. Let's just get going. Fine, said the first man, turning away and heading to the exit. What about me? Asked Naruto. He didn't want anything to do with them, but he had to keep the facade for now. Oh yeah, well, we were not planning on paying you, said the first man. You see, it would be detrimental to us, so why don't you just stay here? Then he pulled out a piece of paper that Naruto didn't know what it did and threw it to the ceiling. The paper then blew up, blocking the escape route Naruto had. What the hell was that? Asked Naruto as he lowered his hand that he had raised to protect his face when the paper exploded. When he saw what was left of the corridor he knew he couldn't pass through there, but that only left one exit, the room with a bunch of monsters. The corridor would be back to normal in the morning. The dungeon somehow fixed itself. If he stayed here that long, it would just be a matter of time before the monsters found him, so he had to get out. He wondered if Hanabi had made it out. This hasn't been their exact plan, but it had worked. They seemed to think she was deaf, now he just had to make sure they were not right. Naruto-sama, screamed Hanabi from far away. Naruto turned around to see where she was, and he found her on the other side of the room surrounded by monster. There was no way he would make it in time, especially with everything in his way, but he had to try. He couldn't just let her die. Hanabi had been careless. She had stayed too long waiting to see if the bait worked. When she saw that it did she ran to the stairs, but monsters blocked her, and she had to run back from where she had come from. Soon enough she had found herself surrounded. Not knowing what to do she screamed for help to Naruto. She saw him a little bit later running towards her, killing every monster that got on his path, but it was obvious that he wouldn't make it. There was no way she would get out of this one. He wouldn't make it. It was so far away. Damn it, I need to be stronger. I need to be able to protect her. I can't let this happen, said Naruto in rage as he charged through several goblins that blocked his way. Then he started shining, as if white light came from inside him. Hanabi had killed some goblins as she ran away. She had dropped her bag long ago. It only weighted her down. She had run out of kunai and was against a corner. This was her end. She should have listened to her sister. Maybe then she would have been safe. The goblin moved forward with a short sword in hand, and when he moved to deal the killing blow on Hanabi, he was suddenly stopped by Naruto that appeared from thin air. Naruto-sama, asked Hanabi, not seeing him being so close a few seconds ago. How? I don't know either, said Naruto as he deflected the sword and killed the goblin, and then moved to a lizard that was close by, jumping over the fire and throwing his knife into its head, and then grabbing it back as he felt on top of it, and the lizard exploded. I just wished to be close to you to help you, and then I was right next to you. A skill you talked about some time ago, said Hanabi, coming to a realization. You said it allowed you to protect someone, so it lets you get to them in an instant. It teleports you. Naruto continued killing monsters as they came close. Luckily the orc was at the other side of the room, so he didn't worry too much about him. Come on, we need to move. There's an exit over there, said Naruto. We can talk more about this later. Hanabi followed Naruto out the room and into the corridor, and then they continue running until they reach the stairs to floor 8. Well, that didn't go exactly as planned, said Naruto, but at least we're out of there. Now let's get out of here. Wait, I need to do something first, said Hanabi, raising her hands to her head and chanting a small incantation before some fox-like ears appeared on her head. What are those? Asked Naruto, surprised by the spell. Kurarama-sama taught me this. It'll make me look like a kitsune, and also this, said Hanabi, lowering her hand to her eyes. When she opened her eyes they had turned white. This will make me unrecognizable from before. You know that you look exactly the same as before, just with other ears and other eyes, right? Asked Naruto. Are you sure that's going to work? I should have consulted the full plan with Kurarama-sama, but she told it would work, that I shouldn't worry. If your goddess say it will work, shouldn't you believe her, Naruto-sama? Said Hanabi. Anyways, with this I can make it so that it looks like it died. When it all calms down I can just remove this and return to normal. I suppose I should. Okay, then let's head back. We still need to get out of the dungeon, said Naruto. Where will we head to? Asked Hanabi. We have to go inform Kurarama-sama that the plan worked. We'll see what we do from there, said Naruto, so let's get going. Right behind you, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi, following Naruto outside of the dungeon. She would have to buy a new bag and stuff later, but for now she could be calm once again. Kurama's apartment. So the plan worked? Asked Kurama when Naruto and Hanabi arrived back at her apartment. It did. They think I'm dead, said Hanabi, although it was close to being true. What happened? Asked Kurama, worried. It had been her plan. As something went wrong she would have felt horrible. Well, I stayed way too long to try and see if the bait was working. It did, and I was surrounded by monsters. If Naruto-sama's skill hadn't activated then I would have probably died, said Hanabi. The will to protect activated? Asked Kurama. It had been a while since Naruto got the skill, and it had not yet activated. They were getting worried it was a useless skill. I believe so. I was on the other side of the room, and suddenly I was by Hanabi's side, ready to stop a blow from a goblin. But not only that, I felt stronger as soon as I appeared at Hanabi's side. Killing the goblins was really easy, said Naruto. So the skill works who I thought it would, but with something extra, said Kurama, taking a thinking position. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. Well, I thought that it would boost your power somehow, giving you the strength to protect someone or yourself, but it also gave you the ability to go to the person you need to protect, explained Kurama. But the skill is supposed to protect you as well. I wonder what happens when you're the one that needs protection. That's a good question. The skill is supposed to become inactive when I get to level 3, said Naruto. I wonder how would that work? You will probably be able to teleport to the side of the person you want, said Kurarama. At least that's what I think. But it said that for the skill to work the person most want to be protected, said Naruto. Then it'll only work on allies, but there's no point debating this right now. When you turn level 3 we'll know, said Kurarama. For now we just have to make sure those guys are not looking for Hanabi. Don't worry, thanks to you Kurarama-sama I got the perfect disguise, said Hanabi, using the jutsu once again to become a kitsune. Speaking about that, what's a kitsune, Kurarama-sama? Asked Naruto. Hanabi looked at him surprised that he didn't know, and Kurarama was surprised as well, but then her face changed to that of understanding. There was no other race in Uzashigakure, right? Asked Kurarama. No, I only saw normal humans in Yuzu, said Naruto. Someone told me that a long time ago, they were surprised to discover the other races, since Uzashigakure is an only human country, said Kurarama. So you haven't met any other race until now, Naruto-sama, said Hanabi. That must have been some strange luck or just plain bad luck, depending from which side you look at it. Since you don't know much about them, let me explain the basic one, said Kurarama. There are probably more than the ones I will explain, but this should be enough for now. Okay, I really want to know, said Naruto. You already know humans, they are the most basic race, and some of the other races look like them, so you might have met someone of a different race, and you didn't notice, said Kurarama. The next most common one is a werewolf. Werewolf? Asked Naruto, worried he had heard the old fairy tales. They are not like the ones in the fairy tales, Naruto-kun, although they do get more easily pissed off on night of full moon, said Kurarama. Werewolf are basically humans with canine characteristics. They have dog or wolf ears, fangs, and their nails grow as claws. They also have really short temperament, so they get angry fast. They normally try to prove that they're the strongest in their groups, and on full moon nights they're unbearable, said Hanabi. Then there is kitsunes. They are like werewolves, but with fox characteristics specifically. They have high affinity for magic or jutsus as many know them, said Kurarama. Being good with jutsus is what separate them from werewolves, because werewolf are more stronger and then to go to physical combat, while kitsunes try to use jutsus in their advantage. Kitsunes are more easy to be around. They are more social than werewolf, although they tend to play a lot of pranks, added Hanabi. There are also elves. They look exactly like humans except for their long ears. They normally have long hair and blue eyes, but this is not always true, said Kurarama. Just as kitsunes, they have a high affinity for jutsus, but they can also be very strong physically. Elves normally live a lot longer than humans and they are very formal. They like to try and be friends with someone before attacking. But if they think you are doing something that might hurt him or one of his friends, they will never forgive you, and you don't want to make an elf mad, said Hanabi. Elves are really rare nowadays. They have mixed a lot with humans, and is more normal to see half-elves. They can have characteristics of humans or elves, said Kurarama. You could have met one with normal human ears, and you would have never noticed they were half-elf, said Hanabi. They are basically humans that live longer and have a higher affinity for jutsu, but they don't live as much as elves. There are nekomatas, that are basically feline werewolves, said Kurarama, and many more. Wow, there are a lot of races that I didn't know about. I wonder why no one ever told me of them, said Naruto, especially my mom. I wonder why she didn't told me. I'm sure she would have told you when you grew up a little, just so you could understand better, said Kurarama. You might be right, Kurarama-sama, said Naruto. Now I wonder if there is someone I know that is another race. Well, I'm technically from another race as well, said Kurarama. Gods classify as another race as well. We are basically humans that grant chakra to other humans and cannot die unless a monster kill us. Like I said, with elves some races can breed with other ones, humans, werewolves, nekomatas, and kitsunes. They can all breed with each other, said Kurarama, but you'll probably never see a werewolf and a nekomata together. Elves can only breed with elves and humans. And what about gods? Asked Naruto. Gods cannot breed. We gods may be immortal, but we can't have children of our own. But it doesn't really matter since we see our familias as family, said Kurarama. Family, whispered Hanabi to herself and looked away into the distance. Naruto noticed that and remembered. Oh yeah, we still have to go see someone else, said Naruto. We'll go get a conversion for Hanabi tomorrow. We can rest for now, said Kurarama. No, not that. I promised I'd take Hanabi somewhere after she was out of trouble, said Naruto. Promised? Asked Hanabi. To who? Well, I technically made 2 promises, but they are technically the same. I promised Hinata that I would help her find her sister, and Kakashi that I would take you to see Hinata after you were out of trouble, said Naruto. Hanabi tensed up when she heard her sister's name. She had hoped to keep it a secret. She couldn't show her face to her sister after all that happened. She had told her not to join any familia, specifically not the Manda familia. She told her she would end in trouble, and everything she had said came true. So you know my sister, said Hanabi, looking down. I'm sorry, but I can't go see her right now. Why not? Asked Naruto. She's been looking for you for some time now. I know she has, but I went against her and our father when I joined a familia. I cannot go see her now and tell her what happened. She will probably not allow me to return to the dungeon, said Hanabi. I'll go with you. We can convince her together that the dungeon isn't that bad, said Naruto. We already defeated 2 or 3 orcs. I didn't count them, and countless goblins and lizards. Hanabi thought about it. Her sister had met Naruto. Maybe he could help her cause and convince her sister. Fine, let's go see my sister. but if it ends badly don't tell me I didn't warn you. Is Hinata we're talking here? I haven't met her for that long, but I could see that she was really worried about you. She'll understand if you explain it to her, said Naruto. We'll come back later, Kurama-sama, we have to get going before they close the pub. Okay then, I'll wait here and when you return let's update your stats. If the bait worked as intended, you must have killed a lot of monster trying to save Hanabi. You must have gotten other A rank, said Kurama. That probably true. We'll see you later, Kurama-sama, said Naruto as they left towards the Ichiraku pub. Ichiraku pub. Right about now the pub was mostly empty, just a few customers, so they could probably get Hinata for a few minutes. Naruto entered first and told Hanabi to wait outside. He headed towards Kakashi since he needed someone to get Hinata to leave for a few minutes. You came here instead of a table, what do you need, kid? Asked Kakashi. She's safe now, she's outside, she came to see her sister, said Naruto. Kakashi stopped what he was doing, which was reading his book, since he had no other customers in his area right now. Okay then, I'll talk to Tucci-san, go through the back of the shop, there's an entrance there, said Kakashi, moving to the kitchen. Naruto went outside and told Hanabi what happened and they moved to the back door. There Tucci was waiting for them. So you're Hinata's sister, said Tucci, seeing Hanabi. She never told me it was a kitsune. Oh no, I'm not a kitsune, this is a jutsu, I'll remove it when we go inside, said Hanabi. That's a pretty convenient jutsu you have there, it would fool anyone, said Tucci. Well, come in, this is going to be a surprise for Hinata. And thanks for not just entering through the front and making a scene, I would have been happy, but this way is better for the rest of the costumers. Hanabi suggested this, said Naruto. I just didn't want it to get attention, said Hanabi. Naruto and Hanabi entered and waited for Hinata there. Hinata on the other hand was busy doing her job. There were not that many costumers, but she always made sure to do her best in her job. She had seen Naruto enter a little while ago and talk about something to Kakashi, and then Kakashi went to the kitchen. It had been weird, but she paid it little attention. Kakashi sometimes went to the kitchen to eat whenever he got time since he was almost always busy serving drinks for the adventurers. If the adventurers did something that was drinking a lot. Tucci then called AM to the kitchen. When AM returned she called Hinata over. Hey Hinata, my father needs you to check something in the back of the shop, I'll cover for you, meanwhile take your time, said AM. It was strange that she had to check something. Normally AM did this kind of stuff, but she decided it couldn't be of any harm. Okay, I'll be right back then, said Hinata, heading to the back. What she saw she had not expected. Hanabi, said Hinata, seeing her sister. Tears started appearing in her eyes, and then she ran to her sister and caught her in a hug. You don't know how worried I was. Hanabi was surprised by the hug. She had expected a scolding first, but she didn't complain. She returned the hug, not knowing really what to say. Hinata calmed down a little bit before talking again. Where have you been? I've been worried sick. The last time I saw you, you told me that you joined a familia and were going to the dungeon, said Hinata. And I did, I regret it a little, but everything is better now, said Hanabi. But now you can stay here and not get in danger again, said Hinata. I'm still going to keep heading to the dungeon, sis, said Hanabi. But why? Asked Hinata. That place is dangerous, father told us not to go in there. I know what he said, but I love exploring the dungeon. Remember those stories he told us back when I was really young, said Hanabi. I do, he told stories about adventurers and the dungeon, said Hinata, remembering those tales, but those have been before what happened to her mother. I know that he loved exploring the dungeon as well, after all he met our mother there, said Hanabi. But he also lost our mother in there, he doesn't want to lose us as well, said Hinata. I don't want to lose you either. It was true, Hinata's and Hanabi's father had been an adventurer. He met the love of his life inside the Konoha dungeon. They got married and had 2 daughters, but during one of their explorations to the dungeon, Hinata's and Hanabi's mother had died. Since then their father changed, not wanting anything to do with that place. Hinata understood his father, she had been the older one after all. The dungeon was dangerous, and now her sister was going there, putting herself in danger as well. The same thing that happened to her mother could happen to Hanabi. I know that you worry about me, sis, but I want to explore that place our parents loved, said Hanabi. I get why they love the dungeon now. It's an adventure, you meet many different people, you face many challenges, and you see things that you could never see outside of that place. But started Hinata, not knowing how to dissuade her sister. I'll be safe, sis, I have Naruto-sama at my side, he's the strongest adventurer I have met, said Hanabi. That was the first time Hinata noticed that Naruto was standing not far away. Hi, said Naruto awkwardly, not knowing what to say. He had never been in this kind of situation. Maybe they should have talked this through before coming to see Hinata. You were the one to find my sister, Naruto-kun? Asked Hinata. Well, she found me, to be exact, the day after you told me you have a sister. She approached me outside of the dungeon. I didn't know she was just sister back then. We became partners and explored the dungeon together several times, said Naruto. I see, said Hinata. Naruto might just be level 1, but he has several A ranks, and he's getting stronger really fast. If I'm with him, there should be no trouble, said Hanabi. It seemed there was no way to get Hanabi out of this. You know, Hanabi, I also grew up hearing those stories all the time. I dreamed of being an adventurer once, but I don't know if I could ever be one now, said Hinata. I'll let you keep going to the dungeon on one condition. Really? Asked Hanabi, surprised she had not expected her sister to allow her to continue exploring the dungeon. On what condition? That you come to live with me, said Hinata. If you're going in there, I just want to make sure that you come back every day. That actually solved a problem. There was no way Hanabi could live with Naruto and Kurama. The apartment was just barely enough for those two, and she didn't want to look around for a place right now. If it's only that, I'm fine with it, said Hanabi. But it would have to wait until tomorrow. I still need my conversion. Conversion, what's that? Asked Hinata, not being familiar with the term. It's when a person changes familia. I'll join the Kurama familia the same as Naruto-sama, said Hanabi. And where were you before? Asked Hinata. Well, started Hanabi, knowing that she would eventually have to explain everything, so she decided to do it now. Meanwhile, inside the Ichiraku pub, a man with long dark hair entered the pub and sat down in front of the bar where Kakashi was stationed. I'll have the same as last time, said the man. It's been a long time since you came here, said Kakashi, serving the man his drink and placing it in front of him. You know they're at the back. I know, said the man. I saw them from time to time around the city. Don't you want to talk to them? Asked Kakashi, grabbing a glass and starting to clean it. I do, but I can't, not right now, said the man. I told them so many great things about the dungeon. I wanted them to follow our steps, but then I lost her. I know it was hard, said Kakashi. That day was a terrible one. That place, the dungeon, I loved exploring it, but now it only reminds me of her. I can't do it, said the man. It hasn't been the same since that day, said Kakashi, but I can assure you that she would have want to see you happy. The man finished his drink before talking again. She would have wanted that I continued doing what I loved, and that I let our daughters do whatever they loved. I have been a stupid man. Maybe, who knows, said Kakashi. Whenever you're ready to see them, you know that they will probably be here. I know, thanks for talking to me, old friend, said the man. I'll be heading back home. See you in a month. Is it really in a month? Asked Kakashi. It is. I know it won't be easy, but we have done it before, said the man, heading outside. The next day, Konoha Guild. It had took several hours to explain everything to Hinata, but in the end it all ended fine. The day Naruto, Hanabi and Kurama headed to the guild to get Hanabi her conversion to the Kurama familia. Time ago, a conversion needed a written statement by the familia god of the current familia, but then some gods used this to their advantage and didn't let their members exit their familias if they wanted, so this rules was cancelled, and now is only needed the presence of the new familia god and the person that wants the conversion. Once a conversion is given, the person cannot get another one until a year has passed. So if you switched familias and you didn't like because maybe you want more combat, but the new familia is more business oriented, then you were stuck for a year. Conversions were not that common since most gods are good to their familia members. It was more normal to see a conversion because the person felt in love and wants to be in the same familia with his or her lover. Apart from getting the conversion, they also were going to report about the Manda familia and hope that the guild handled that. When they arrived, Ino noticed Naruto and approached them. Hello Naruto, what are you doing here today with your goddess? Asked Ino. It wasn't rare to see a god around the guild, since they had to report every new adventurer to the guild and also be present for conversion, but still it was weird for Naruto to be with Kurama. We came to get a conversion, said Kurama. You're changing familia, Naruto? Asked Ino, surprised. Nah, not me, she needs one, said Naruto, referring to Hanabi, but since she had her disguise on, Ino didn't recognize her. The kitsune, okay, it's a simple thing, I can do it myself, said Ino. Follow me. They entered a back room that was more private with two couches around a table. Conversions are private matters. Some people don't like other hearing what familia they're leaving, so we do them in private rooms like this one, said Ino. It's my first conversion, but I know how to do them. Well, actually I don't do that much, the familia god does most of the work. Anyways, I'll have to ask you to wait outside, Naruto, said Ino. Just guild regulations. Okay, no problem, said Naruto, although I would have liked to see a conversion. With that, Naruto exited the room and waited outside for Hanabi and Kurama. Well, let's get started, said Ino, taking out a paper and writing some things down. Name and previous familia. Hanabi Hyuga, Manda familia, said Hanabi. Ino looked through some cabinets they had there and came out with a folder. Okay, let's see. Hanabi Hyuga, said Ino, looking at the folder. It says here you're a human, but you're a kitsune. Oh. Sorry about that, said Hanabi, deactivating the jutsu. I'm obligated by the guild to ask why you make yourself look like another race, said Ino. We'll explain it later, Ino-san. For now, let's end the conversion, said Kurama. Okay then, it doesn't really matter for the conversion, as long as the new god and the adventurer support are here, we're set, said Ino, writing some more in the first paper. Okay, then sign here, and I'll be done with my part of the conversion. Ino handed over the paper to Hanabi and a pen. Hanabi signed where she had been indicated and returned the paper. Good. Now normally your familia god updates your stats, but not other god can do it, only your familia god. This is why we do conversions, explained Ino. The only thing you have to do to finish the conversion is let Kurama-sama give you the gift of chakra again. This will bind your stats with her. Isn't receiving the gift again bad? asked Hanabi. Not really, unless you do 2 conversions in less than a year. That's why we wait a year before allowing another one, explained Ino. This will not make you stronger or weaker in any shape, way or form. This is just a process that has to be followed. Many people have done it for a long time. Kurarama extended her hand towards Hanabi. It'll be simple since chakra is already running through your body. I just have to release a small amount into you, that way it'll be bound with me and no longer with Manda, said Kurarama. Okay then, said Hanabi, putting her hand on Kurarama's. She felt chakra entering her system just as it had when she became a support for the first time. Soon enough, Kurarama let her go. And we're done. Your data will be updated in the files, and that will be everything. You are officially part of the Kurarama familia, said Ino. Congratulations. It doesn't feel that different, said Hanabi, looking at her hand. It shouldn't. All gods grant the same wish to humans. It's just a matter of who can update your stats. You're no different now than when you were in the Manda familia, said Kurarama. Now about the making yourself look like another race, stingy, said Ino. Yeah, that. Can we call Naruto back inside? He will help us explain, said Kurarama. I don't see it being a problem, said Ino, standing up, opening the door and calling Naruto back in. Well, it all started when I joined the Manda familia, started Hanabi. They explained everything to Ino. She was shocked hearing what they had to say. She said they would look into it, but it would take time to know if they could do anything. After all, they had no evidence yet of this, and it could take some time to get some. Naruto, Kurarama and Hanabi thanked her for hearing them, and then left back to Kurama's apartment. Hanabi needed to do some things with Hinata so that she could move to live with her, so they decided that they would not head to the dungeon for today. Hanabi walked to her sister home feeling a lot more happier than before. She was finally 100% free from the Manda familia. She had nothing against Manda-sama. It was their members that were horrible. Manda just ignored them, especially Orochimaru. But she didn't have to think in that for now. Right now she just wanted to enjoy finally being free to do what she loved doing. What if Naruto was bijou god in danmachi? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.